Chapter 164. They're fighting. At the side, Sitolai and the others were also stunned. They seemed to be surprised. This Feiren guy is too arrogant. He dares to fight Xingdaorong in the Pill Pagoda. The mental energy pressure on the third floor of the Pill Pagoda isn't simple. Even if he's a high-star realm cultivator, he shouldn't be able to display his full strength, right? That's right. Although Xingdaorong is a genius alchemist, his cultivation base isn't low either. He's already at the first level of the high-star realm. Moreover, with his mental energy at the second level of the profound martial realm, the mental energy pressure on the third floor can't affect him. It seems that Fei Rin is going to be unlucky. He might end up vomiting blood and rolling out of the Pill Pagoda. At this time, the surrounding people were also discussing in low voices. Among them, Song Yuan and Niefeng's expressions were the most interesting. This kid is really a tough kid. He even dares to provoke Xingdaorong. Song Yuan secretly swallowed. Although he looked wretched, he was still a disciple of the Song family, a first-rate force in the imperial city. He naturally knew about Xingdaorong. Xingdaorong was a dual cultivator of alchemy and martial arts. His talent and intelligence weren't inferior to Lu Xiaoxiao's. Moreover, his master was Medicine King Lin Feng. His cultivation base wasn't weaker than ordinary cultivators of the same level. Even the genius disciples of the 3 or 9 ranks of the great families wouldn't dare say they could win against him. Bastard, let's see how arrogant you can be this time. At the same time, Niefeng, who had heard every word, was secretly overjoyed. He also knew how powerful Xingdaorong was. He seemed to think that Fei Rin was done for this time. He wasn't Xingdaorong's match at all. A cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Although he couldn't personally defeat Fei Rin, Niefeng couldn't help but feel happy when he imagined Fei Rin being defeated by Xingdaorong. Well, his mental energy is only at the first level of the profound martial realm. It's not a good idea to fight with that kid in the Pill Pagoda. Stroking his long beard, Sitolai also had a helpless expression. Clearly, he also felt that Fei Rin was too impulsive and that his chances of winning weren't high. He asked for it. I've already advised him, Lu Xiaoxiao snorted. Lu Xiaoxiao snorted in dissatisfaction, as if she was unwilling to talk about this topic again. On the third level of the Pill Pagoda, the remnants of the essence force gradually dissipated. This aura is... How is that possible? Just as Xingdaorong was about to turn around and leave, his face filled with shock as he looked at the corner opposite him. Your strength is not bad. A normal second-level star realm martial artist probably wouldn't have been able to block this move of yours. Unfortunately, it's useless against me. Fei Rin's faint voice slowly came from all around. In the next moment, a gray shadow flashed, and Fei Rin actually landed in front of Xingdaorong unscathed. At the same time, he stretched out his left hand, and an extremely powerful origin energy instantly swept out. Not good. Xingdaorong's heart trembled. Facing Fei Rin's sudden attack, he had no chance to dodge at all. He could only brace himself and draw the full moon scimitar from his waist, holding it horizontally in front of his chest. Bang! The palm chi and the scimitar collided with a loud bang. In the next moment, Xingdaorong's body flew backward like a kite with a broken string. In the end, he crashed heavily into the wall of the Pill Pagoda and spat out a mouthful of blood. The power of the 5 Mountain King capturing Palm has increased again. It has finally reached the perfect stage. Not bad. Fei Rin retracted his palm and stood there, deep in thought. A few months ago, he had already cultivated this quasi-rank 4 martial art to the greater mastery stage. Now, after fighting with Xingdaorong, he finally succeeded in breaking through and stepped into the perfect stage. As a result, its power had increased by a lot. How can you be unscathed? Xingdaorong struggled to get up from the ground, his face filled with shock. He had never met an opponent as powerful and strange as Fei Rin. He was still so lively after taking his full force attack head-on. Even among the younger generation inside and outside the imperial city, there was no such genius. You don't seem to be convinced? With a grin, Fei Rin's body surged with origin power again. Then it wrapped around his palm, and wisps of overlapping mountains appeared in his palm. It was also a powerful martial art. At the same time, it was far more powerful than Xing Daorong's Cold Moon Slash. You actually have a high-grade defensive spiritual treasure on you. At this moment, after the shock on his face faded, Xing Daorong discovered that Fei Ren's torn sleeves revealed a layer of silver-white scale armor. Waves of mysterious aura circled within it, and he immediately exclaimed in surprise. To be able to block my full-force Cold Moon Slash, this defensive spiritual treasure is at least of the 3rd grade. Xing Daorong's fighting spirit, which had been soaring like a rainbow, had diminished a lot. Fei Ren's defense was strong, and his speed was not bad. He was already in an invincible position. The chances of him winning this battle were very slim, unless he could break Fei Ren's defensive spiritual treasure. However, to Xing Daorong's surprise, the silver-white scale armor on Fei Ren's body was not a defensive spiritual treasure, but a black tortoise armor formed by practicing the black tortoise's longevity scripture. It was an ability that came with the cultivation method. As long as there was a trace of origin power left, it would be endless. Do you still want to fight? Ignoring Xing Daorong's shock, Fei Ren took another step forward. Origin power surged in his palm, and his tone was indifferent. His opponent had only forced him to use 50% of his strength. He had not used his strongest trump cards, the 8 trigrams flag and the green dragon halberd. There was no suspense in this battle. If it were not for the fact that he wanted to practice his flying skill, he could defeat Xing Daorong in 10 moves. Your strength is extraordinary. This Xing Daorong admits defeat. Farewell. Knowing that he was no match for Fei Ren, the proud Xing Daorong put down his pride. He immediately cupped his fists and turned to leave the Pill Pagoda. This guy is still not leaving. Does he want to challenge the 4th level of the Pill Pagoda? Seeing that Fei Ren was still standing there, Xing Daorong could not help but look back with a bewildered expression. The mental energy pressure on the 4th level of the Pill Pagoda is more than double that of the 3rd level. This guy's mental energy is only at the 1st level of the profound martial realm. Even if he uses his origin power to resist the pressure, it's impossible for him to withstand it. Gritting his teeth, Xing Daorong withdrew his gaze and flew out of the Pill Pagoda. They've all left. Seeing that Xing Daorong had left, Fei Ren also withdrew his essence force. He had gained a little from this battle. Not only had he refined his flying heaven and earth burrowing technique and 5 Mountain King capturing palm, but the essence force in his Dantian had also increased slightly. His overall strength had increased slightly. It's time to challenge the 4th level. Although his origin power cultivation had increased, Fei Ren was not satisfied. He wanted to test his limits. The 3rd level of the Pill Pagoda was clearly not his limit. Outside the Pill Pagoda, Situ Lai and the others were still waiting. How can this be? Suddenly, Situ Lai's expression changed slightly. Then, he turned to look at the Pill Pagoda, which was not far away. His eyes were filled with surprise. Just a moment ago, he suddenly sensed that someone had reached the 4th level of the Pill Pagoda. Moreover, the person's momentum did not decrease. It seemed like he was going to continue to advance to the next level. The 5th level. Situ Lai's heart skipped a beat. His expression turned from surprise to joy. Someone had reached the 5th level of the Pill Pagoda. This meant that the Pill Pagoda record that he had kept when he was young had been broken. Who could it be? These 2 little babies are really better than their masters. Situ Lai stroked his long beard when he thought of this. At this moment, other than Xing Daorong, only Fei Ren remained in the Pill Pagoda. The person in question was naturally between the 2 of them. Pill Pagoda, 5th level. Damn. What a powerful spiritual pressure. Fei Ren had just stepped into the 5th level when he felt an overwhelming pressure coming toward him. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on him, causing him to be unable to breathe. He immediately circulated the origin power in his body to resist it. Compared to the 3rd and 4th levels, the spiritual energy on the 5th level of the Pill Pagoda was much more majestic. Moreover, the pressure was even stronger. Even Fei Ren had to expend close to 70% of his origin power before he could resist the spiritual energy pressure. Otherwise, he would not be able to move an inch. If it was more serious, his body might even explode from the pressure. Now, what's that? Suddenly, he shifted his gaze. Just as Fei Ren was about to absorb the spiritual energy here, wisps of weak purple gas slowly spread out from the interior of the pill pagoda. Moreover, the source seemed to be coming from above. Purple gas from the east. Fei Ren raised his head and looked up. His eyes were filled with surprise. The fifth level of the pill pagoda was filled with purple gas. Moreover, this purple gas was extremely mysterious. It was mixed with the aura of a treasure. It could be seen that there were even more unknown secrets above the fifth level. Chapter 165. Sitolai once said that this pill pagoda has existed for even longer than the Darchu dynasty. Moreover, this purple gas contains the aura of treasures. It seems like there must be treasures and opportunities in this pill pagoda. Although the purple gas was gradually dissipating in the pill pagoda, it was still weak on the spacious fifth floor. Fei Ren knew that this wasn't the source of the purple gas. It could be from the 7th, 8th, or even the 9th floor of the pill pagoda. Let's absorb the mental energy first. Thinking of this, Fei Ren took a deep breath and sat down cross-legged. He began to circulate the black tortoise longevity scripture and absorbed a large amount of mental energy around him. As the saying goes, haste makes waste. With his current strength, it would be difficult for him to reach the top floor of the pill pagoda in one go. Moreover, the mental energy on the 5th floor was boundless, so he naturally couldn't waste it. As long as his mental energy could break through to the 2nd layer of the profound martial realm, Fei Ren's chances of reaching the 6th floor would be higher. At the very least, he wouldn't have to waste a large amount of energy to resist the mental energy pressure from the pill pagoda, which would greatly reduce the pressure on him. Swish, swish, swish. Not long after, under Fei Ren's powerful absorption speed, the mental energy on the 5th floor gradually thinned out. In the end, there were only strands of weak purple gas lingering in the air. Under the infusion of a large amount of mental energy, the mental energy seed in the depths of Fei Ren's mind finally grew to the size of a fingernail. At this moment, it was emitting a mysterious aura, as if it could break through at any time. Break through, Fei Ren shouted in his heart. In the next moment, he increased the circulation speed of his cultivation technique. Like a divine dragon drinking water, he instantly absorbed all the mental energy on the 5th floor into his body and turned it into nourishment for the mental energy seed in the depths of his mind. Pop! In the depths of his mind, a soft sound like a shell cracking sounded. Fei Ren's aura shook and his originally black eyes flickered with golden light. At the same time, an extraordinary mental energy fluctuation was emitted from his body. He had stepped out of the 2nd layer of the profound martial realm. After absorbing the mental energy on the 4th and 5th floor of the pill pagoda, Fei Ren's mental energy had finally broken through to the 2nd layer of the profound martial realm. 2nd stage of the profound martial realm. The spiritual pressure from the 5th level of the pill pagoda has decreased by half. Fei Ren spat out a mouthful of turbid air. His face was resolute. One had to know that Fei Ren was only 17 years old, but his spiritual energy had already reached the 2nd stage of the profound martial realm, which was similar to Lu Xiaoxiao and Xing Daorong. Moreover, his cultivation wasn't any weaker than any of the young geniuses in the imperial city. Compared to Xing Daorong, Fei Ren was the true genius of dual cultivation. The 6th floor, I'm coming. Slowly getting up, Fei Ren took out a recovery elixir from his spiritual ring and swallowed it. His eyes were burning with passion as he slowly walked up the stairs to the 6th level of the pill tower. This was not his limit. Back then, the Medicine King Lin Feng's record in the pill pagoda was only the 6th level. However, Fei Ren was going to break this record today. At the same time, He was going to uncover the secret of the source of the purple energy in the Pill Pagoda. Outside the Pill Tower, Situ Lai had a shocked expression on his face. Just a moment ago, he had discovered that the person who challenged the Pill Tower hadn't left. Moreover, he had charged to the 6th level once again. How is this possible? Is it Fei Run or Xing Daorong? These two kids can actually reach the 6th level and break that person's record back then. Situ Lai's heart was in a mess. Just as he was lost in his own thoughts, a figure appeared at the entrance of the Pill Tower. Then, Xing Daorong stepped out with a regretful expression and landed in front of everyone. Xing Daorong is out too. Where's that guy called Fei Ren? It can't be. He actually lasted longer than Xing Daorong. Could it be that this guy's been staying on the 3rd level of the Pill Tower and doesn't want to come out? When they saw Xing Daorong appear, everyone present was surprised. They originally thought that Fei Run would be the first to come out of the Pill Tower. However, they never expected this to be the result. Xing, it's rare to see such an expression on your face. Beside him, Lu Xiaoxiao also spoke with a faint smile. Her tone was somewhat mocking. She was naturally very happy to see the usually arrogant Xing Daorong in such a depressed state. After all, the two of them were old rivals in the Alchemist Guild. Little girl Lu, you didn't know about that guy's strength in the past, did you? Consider yourself lucky this time to be able to get involved with him. Goodbye. Xing Daorong glanced at Lu Xiaoxiao sinisterly. The corners of his mouth curled up, revealing an indifferent expression. Then, he turned around and left. His tone was somewhat meaningful. What does this guy mean? What does he mean by getting involved with him? Looking at Xing Daorong's gradually leaving figure, Lu Xiaoxiao bit her lips with her pearly white teeth. There was some indignation on her pretty face. Originally, she only wanted to ridicule the other party, but she did not expect the other party to act out of character and not refute her. This made her feel as if she had punched cotton. I didn't expect that wooden man to be able to defeat Xing Daorong in the Pill Tower. It seems that I have underestimated him. Thinking of this, Lu Xiaoxiao's pretty face turned slightly red. Previously, she had wanted to persuade Fei Ren not to make a move. Now, it seemed that it was her own wishful thinking. I didn't expect this Fei Ren to be able to reach the 6th floor. It seems that I have underestimated him. This child is definitely an extremely talented alchemist prodigy. Situ Lai sucked in a breath of cold air. His expression gradually became serious. His originally turbid eyes flickered with light at the same time, and they were filled with admiration. At this moment, other than him, no one else present, including Lu Xiaoxiao, knew about the situation in the Pill Tower. Although everyone was speculating about Fei Run who was staying in the Pill Tower, and there were all sorts of discussions, Situ Lai did not care. Compared to all this, Situ Lai wanted to see if Fei Ren could break the record set by the Medicine King Lin Feng back then and reach the 7th floor and above. Uncle Situ, what's wrong? Lu Xiaoxiao seemed to have noticed the strange expression on Situ Lai's face. She stepped forward and then asked in concern. Situ Lai was not only her master, but he was also her uncle. It could be said that they were even closer. It's nothing, little girl. Ask everyone to go back first. I'll continue to wait here for our young friend Fei Ren to come out. Situ Lai smiled and shook his head in the face of Lu Xiaoxiao's concern. Then he spoke. He clearly did not want to spread the news that Fei Ren had reached the 6th floor of the Pill Tower. All right, Uncle Situ, take care. Seeing this scene, although Lu Xiaoxiao was slightly puzzled, she did not say anything and immediately turned around to leave. It's a pity that the harvest this time is still too little. Although my mental power seed has increased a little, it's still not enough to break through the profound martial realm. Let's work harder next time. With our strength, it's already not bad if we can reach the 3rd floor. I wonder where that Fei Ren came from. He's actually still staying in the Pill Tower and not coming out. What a strange person. After seeing Lu Xiaoxiao and Xing Daorong leave, everyone present bowed to Situ Lai and gradually dispersed. Pill Tower, 6th floor. Ha! 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 Heavily kneeling on the ground, Fei Ren felt as if he was carrying the weight of 5 great mountains on his back. He simply couldn't muster up the slightest bit of strength. At this moment, he was panting heavily as drops of hot sweat flowed down from his forehead. Chapter 166. Even if my mental power has reached the second layer of the profound martial realm, I still have to consume nearly 80% of my yuan power to resist the mental pressure from the pill tower. No wonder Lin Feng could only reach the sixth floor back then with his talent and strength. Clenching his teeth, Fei Ren slowly walked toward the interior of the pill tower. However, with every step he took, hot sweat dripped from his body. It was as if his feet were filled with lead. The process was extremely difficult. That was the center of the sixth floor. At the same time, the mental energy there was more abundant. If Fei Ren wanted to reach the next floor, he had to absorb a large amount of mental energy and break through the third layer of the profound martial realm. Otherwise, with his current strength, he would be stuck at the sixth floor. Fei Ren had yet to discover the source of the purple gas in the pill tower and the treasures that might be hidden there. Naturally, he wouldn't give up so easily. Swish, swish, swish. As a large amount of mental energy entered his body, the mental power seed in the depths of Fei Ren's mind grew a little stronger. Although it had just broken through the second layer of the profound martial realm, its size had more than doubled with the influx of mental energy. Continue. Without any hesitation, Fei Ren used all his strength and slowly walked toward the entrance of the seventh floor. The seventh floor. After successfully stepping into the seventh floor, Fei Ren's face turned serious. He could feel that although the purple gas here was getting denser, it wasn't the source. The source of the purple gas was even higher. This won't do. Just resisting the mental pressure has consumed all of my yuan power. I can't even circulate my cultivation technique like this, let alone absorb the mental energy. Clenching his fists, Fei Ren suddenly had a crazy idea in his mind. I'll go all out. Black tortoise longevity scripture. With a loud shout, Fei Ren suddenly spread his hands out. His eyes were red, and he instantly removed the protective yuan power around his body. He allowed the mental pressure from the pill tower to attack the depths of his mind and body. There was a hint of madness on his face. Without destruction, there can be no construction. Destruction and construction. The mental pressure on the seventh floor was already like this, let alone the eighth and ninth floor. Fei Ren knew that he couldn't reach the ninth floor. Therefore, he had to risk his life and go all out. Fei Ren could not help but let out a long cry when a large amount of spiritual pressure surged toward him. His expression was one of extreme pain. His fingernails and hair were instantly destroyed. At the same time, the black tortoise armor on the surface of his skin also rapidly retreated. In the end, it turned into nothingness. Clearly, it was unable to withstand the spiritual pressure from the pill tower. Poochie. Suddenly, he spat out another mouthful of blood. Fei Ren's complexion instantly became extremely pale. The originally powerful origin energy aura on his body instantly dropped by a level. Moreover, clear wounds and cracks began to appear on his body. Among them, his flesh and bones were faintly visible. Even though the injuries on his body continued to worsen, Fei Ren's mental energy seed continued to grow. It didn't take long for him to reach the critical point of the third stage of the profound martial realm. He was only a step away from breaking through, and his mental energy had increased by several folds. No, I'll die. Fei Ren's eyes turned red as he felt the intense pain all over his body. It was obvious that he had reached his limit. He immediately clenched his teeth and gave up on absorbing the spiritual energy. Instead, he started to circulate his yuan power to resist the spiritual pressure from the pill tower. Poochie. Another mouthful of thick blood was spat out. Even though the injuries on his body had stopped, the spiritual pressure from the pill tower did not decrease. At this moment, Fei Ren was in a dilemma. In order to resist the spiritual pressure from the pill tower, he had exhausted all of his yuan power. His body could not move at all. However, if he withdrew the yuan power around his body, he would be instantly annihilated by the spiritual pressure from the pill tower. He might even explode into a pool of blood. This was too much. Thinking of this, Fei Ren's face could not help but turn ugly. That's right, there's still the divine cauldron. At this critical moment, Fei Ren suddenly thought of the refining immortal cauldron in his dantian. The refining immortal cauldron was the only immortal treasure in the universe. It could devour everything in the world. A mere spiritual pressure from the pill tower was naturally nothing to it. Divine cauldron appear. Without any hesitation, Fei Ren summoned the refining immortal cauldron in the next moment. Buzz! Accompanied by a flash of golden light, the ancient refining immortal cauldron slowly appeared in the middle of the pill tower. The moment the refining immortal cauldron appeared, the extremely powerful spiritual pressure in the pill tower was instantly reduced by more than half. After a few breaths, it completely disappeared as if it had never existed. As expected, it could be devoured and refined. Sensing that the spiritual pressure around him had disappeared, Fei Ren collapsed to the ground. A trace of lingering fear appeared on his handsome face. If he did not have the refining immortal cauldron, an immortal treasure, he probably would not have survived. After all, with his yuan power cultivation at the second level of the star realm and his spiritual power at the second level of the profound martial realm, it was still a little difficult for him to reach the seventh level of the pill tower. In the pill tower, the most frightening thing was the powerful spiritual pressure. However, with the help of the refining immortal cauldron, this spiritual pressure was useless. Hence, Fei Ren no longer had any scruples and began to absorb the spiritual energy inside without restraint. The eighth level, I'm coming. After a short while, the spiritual energy on the seventh level of the pill tower was completely absorbed by him. However, Fei Ren did not stop and continued to charge toward the eighth level. 2 hours later, unknowingly, Fei Ren had actually successfully passed to the ninth level, the highest level of the pill tower. Third profound martial realm. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, Fei Ren's aura fluctuated greatly. In the next moment, a powerful spiritual force field was emitted, causing people to involuntarily feel fear. Some cultivators with weaker spiritual force even felt dizzy on the spot and completely lost their ability to fight. Third profound martial realm. My current spiritual force is no weaker than Sido Lai's. The only thing I lack is a suitable spiritual martial art. Slowly getting up, Fei Ren's face was filled with joy. Unlike cultivators who used yuan power to fight, alchemists used spiritual force to fight. Compared to yuan power attacks, spiritual force attacks were more difficult to defend against. Moreover, they were powerful. Spiritual martial arts that could greatly increase the power of spiritual force attacks were spiritual martial arts. Outside the pill tower, Situ Lai stood quietly on the ground with a dull expression on his face. The ninth level? How is this possible? How could this kid reach the highest level of the pill tower? Situ Lai's expression was extremely shocked. At this moment, his emotions could no longer be described with words. One had to know that even Lin Feng had only reached the 6th level of the pill tower. Now, he was a famous grade 4 alchemist in the Dacha dynasty, a titled medicine king. However, Fei Ren was only a 17-year-old youth in the first profound martial realm. Yet he was able to reach the 9th level of the pill tower and directly reach the top. It was simply shocking. Could it be that this old man's perception was wrong? Yes. This old man must be too old. That kid can't possibly withstand that level of spiritual pressure. Situ Lai shook his head. Although he was extremely shocked, in the next moment, he denied his own judgment. In his opinion, Fei Ren could reach the 6th level. As for the 9th level, it was completely impossible. Chapter 167. The 9th level of the Pill Pagoda was filled with a large amount of purple gas. Even though Fei Ren had absorbed all the mental energy here, it showed no signs of dissipating. What's that? Fei Ren was stunned when he looked in the direction of the source of the purple gas. There was a stone platform at the center of the Pill Pagoda. The stone platform had a unique shape. Its center was deeply sunken, as if it was some kind of mechanism. At this moment, the purple gas that filled the entire ninth level of the Pill Pagoda was being emitted from it in an endless stream. The purple gas is coming from here. Could it be that the treasure is here? Faerun leaped up and arrived in front of the stone platform. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Under the protection of the immortal, refining divine cauldron, the mental energy pressure here had been completely devoured and isolated. It could not affect him at all. It was as if he had entered an uninhabited land. This was also the reason why Faerun was able to rush to the ninth level of the Pill Pagoda in one go. Let's give it a try. A hint of hesitation flashed across his heart. In the next moment, Faerun made up his mind. He raised his hand and circulated his origin power. He pressed it deeply into the sunken area at the center of the stone platform. Although he did not know what the mechanism at the center of the stone platform was, he had already made it here. Whether it was danger or an opportunity, there was no reason for him to retreat. Boom! The instant Faerun's origin power poured into the center of the stone platform. The originally calm stone platform trembled. Then the weather changed. The majestic purple gas that filled the Pill Pagoda instantly dispersed. Then it slowly turned into a mysterious scroll in midair. Looking at the mysterious scroll that suddenly appeared in front of him, Faerun was shocked. This mysterious scroll actually recorded a cultivation method. Is this the secret of the ninth level of the Pill Pagoda? This cultivation method's rank was not low. It had far surpassed the black tortoise immortality scripture that he cultivated. Moreover, this cultivation method could not only temper one's origin power, but it could also cultivate one's mental energy. It was a mental energy type cultivation method that cultivated both martial arts and alchemy. It was extremely rare. Swoosh! Before Faerun could react, the mysterious scroll in midair surged toward his body and merged into one. As the mysterious diagram entered his body, a large amount of unfamiliar information poured into the depths of his mind. Faerun felt as if his head was about to explode. He couldn't help but let out a long howl with a pained expression. Dharma conversion technique. After an unknown period of time, the painful expression on Faerun's face gradually disappeared, and his eyes flickered with a bright light. The treasure and lucky chance in the ninth level of the Pill Pagoda was a ninth-grade cultivation method called the Dharma 1000 transformation technique. Moreover, it was a rare spiritual attribute cultivation method. Not only could it temper a martial artist's essence force, but it could also increase a martial artist's spiritual force. It could be called a perfect cultivation method for dual cultivation. Ninth rank cultivation method. Not to mention that it was unique in the Dacha dynasty. It was a top-notch technique that was rarely seen in the entire southeastern region. So, the Pill Pagoda's inheritance is this ninth-grade cultivation method. Is this considered the treasure of the pagoda? After an hour, Faerun had completely memorized the Dharma 1000 transformation technique. Whether it was the various meridians or the cultivation route, he already knew it like the back of his hand. However, he did not plan to immediately cultivate it in order to not expose this cultivation method in the Pill Pagoda. That old man Situ Lai should still be guarding outside the Pill Pagoda. How should I explain it to him? After exhaling a deep breath, Faerun rubbed his nose with an awkward expression. Currently, all the opportunities and benefits in the Pill Pagoda had been completely plundered by him. Not only that, he had also reached the ninth level in one go and taken away the treasure of the Pill Pagoda, the Dharma 1000 transformation technique. If others knew about this, it would indeed attract a lot of trouble and even hunt him down. Forget it. There will be a way when the time comes. I should leave this place first. After pondering for a moment, Faerun made up his mind. He immediately turned around and left the ninth level. He rushed toward the bottom level of the Pill Pagoda, intending to leave his place. Before entering the Pill Pagoda, his mental power was only at the first level of the profound martial realm. Even the Alchemist Association, he was at the bottom and could not cause any waves. Even if Faerun told the truth, Situ Lai might not believe that he could reach the 9th level of the Pill Pagoda alone. Hence, he might as well beat Situ Lai at his own game and come up with a random reason. Outside the Pill Pagoda, Situ Lai's expression changed. He seemed to be planning something in his heart. Senior Situ. Suddenly, a gray figure appeared at the entrance of the Pill Pagoda. It was Fei Run, who had not appeared for a long time. Young friend Fei Rin, you've finally come out. Are you all right? Seeing that Fei Rin had finally walked out of the Pill Pagoda, Situ Lai also leaped in front of him. His old face was filled with surprise. Thank you for your concern, Senior Situ. I absorbed too much mental energy in the Pill Pagoda. It was difficult for me to digest all of it in a short period of time, so I was delayed for a while. Fei Run immediately grinned and said indifferently in the face of Situ Lai's probing. Previously, this old man sensed that someone had reached the 9th level of the Pill Pagoda. Moreover, at that time, the only one who stayed in the Pill Pagoda was you, young friend Fei Run. Situ Lai's gaze was deep. In the next moment, he opened his mouth and spoke again. At the same time, he looked at Fei Run in front of him, as if he wanted to see through some of the secrets on his body. Although the Fei Rin in front of him was young, and his Yuan power cultivation was only at the 2nd level of the Star Realm, his temperament was experienced and accomplished. This caused Situ Lai to be unable to see through him. Situ Lai had lived for more than half of his life, and had seen many experts and young geniuses. However, a young man like Fei Run, who was unperturbed by honor and disgrace, was the first time he had seen such a young man. Senior Situ, you must be joking. I'm only at the 1st level of the profound martial realm. With the mental energy pressure on the 9th level of the Pill Pagoda, I'm afraid that I would be instantly pressed into a pile of meat paste or even a pool of blood. This little strength of my body is unable to withstand it. Senior Situ, you must be mistaken. I've been staying on the 4th level of the Pill Pagoda all this time and have never moved. In the face of Situ Lai's doubt, Fei Rin cupped his hands together and smiled. His tone was calm and indifferent. It was obvious that he had expected this. Oh, your words are not without reason. It seems that this old man must have been mistaken. Situ Lai stroked his long beard when he saw Fei Rin instantly refuting his words. There was a meaningful look on his aged face. After all, this was only a guess of his. Moreover, Situ Lai clearly knew how terrifying the mental energy pressure on the 9th level of the Pill Pagoda was. Even he and the Medicine King, Lin Feng, were unable to contend against it, let alone Fei Run, who was so young and whose mental energy was only at the 1st level of the profound martial realm. I finally fooled him. Fei Rin secretly sighed in relief when he saw that Situ Lai no longer questioned him. In the eyes of Situ Lai and the rest, he might only be a young man at the 1st level of the profound martial realm. However, after absorbing the boundless mental energy within the Pill Pagoda, his mental energy had greatly increased and reached the 3rd level of the profound martial realm. It was comparable to a grade 3 alchemist. After bidding farewell to Situ Lai, Fei Rin turned around and left the Alchemist Association. He returned to the inn where he was staying. Currently, there were still many things that he needed to do. Aside from cultivating the 9th grade cultivation technique, the Dharma 1000 transformation technique, which he had obtained from the Pill Tower, he still needed to consolidate the realm of his spiritual energy that he had just broken through and refined pills. All of these were extremely time-consuming. This is far from enough. I still need to become stronger. In the room, Fei Rin tightly clenched his fists with a determined expression. Chapter 168. Even though a high-star realm martial artist could be considered an expert in the Darchu dynasty, Fei Rin knew very well that this was far from enough. Whether it was the mysterious purple-robed woman he met in Wu, in town, or Zhang Qingyang's remnant soul in the ancient tomb, these people's strength had far exceeded the Dachu dynasty's martial artists. He could only go to the southeast region or even the wider world to catch up and reach them. Moreover, in order to find the news of his birth parents and the dragon sect, Ren was not willing to stop at a corner of the continent. He was destined to go to the center of the Black Star continent in the future and uncover everything. Let's start cultivating. Collecting his thoughts, Ren slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, then took out the cold ice stone from the spirit ring and began cultivating the Dharma 1000 conversion technique. This cold ice stone was a remnant of Zhang Qingyang. Not only could it increase a cultivator's cultivation speed, but could also protect a cultivator's body from being eroded by cold yin qi. It was a rare treasure. Compared to the Black Tortoise's immortality scripture, the Dharma 1000 transformation technique was not only faster, but also more powerful. It allowed the cultivator to condense a unique tyrant body, the Dharma Golden Buddha body, which greatly increased the cultivator's strength. Dharma body, this was a unique martial artist physique. It was determined by the martial artist's talent and perception. It could greatly increase the martial artist's strength. It was usually divided into innate Dharma body and acquired Dharma body. Innate Dharma body was a martial artist's innate physique. It could be condensed after reaching a certain level or awakening a certain bloodline. It could greatly increase the martial artist's strength, and it could also grow according to the martial artist's origin power cultivation. It was very abnormal. Compared to innate Dharma body, acquired Dharma body was much inferior. Not only did it have no growth potential, but its power would also be greatly reduced. However, the advantage of acquired Dharma body was that it could be cultivated on its own. It did not require a strong talent or perception, nor did it require any bloodline realm. The Dharma 1000 transformation technique in Ren's hands was a spiritual type technique that could condense the acquired tyrant body, the Dharma Golden Buddha body. Although the acquired tyrant body was not as powerful as the innate tyrant body, it was still very rare to find a martial artist with a tyrant body in the martial arts world. Even in the entire Dacha dynasty, there was not a single genius martial artist with an acquired tyrant body, let alone an innate tyrant body. Therefore, if Ren was able to successfully cultivate the Dharma 1000 transformation technique and condense the unique post-celestial tyrant body, even if he had not stepped into the third realm of the martial body, martial artists below the high star realm would not be his match and could be easily killed. This was the power of the acquired mighty body, Dharma Golden Buddha body. If I can condense this tyrant body, my attack, defense, and even my movement speed will increase by several times. Moreover, it will be difficult for high star realm martial artists to hurt me. With a fiery gaze, Ren's cultivation of the Dharma 1000 transformation technique sped up. Although the Dharma 1000 transformation technique was a rank 9 technique, with his current talent and perception, there were no bottlenecks in cultivating this technique. It was still very smooth. The only thing that was more time-consuming was to expel the origin energy from his Dantian bit by bit, and then start to condense new origin energy. When the Black Tortoise longevity scripture origin energy in his Dantian was completely cleared, the Dharma 1000 transformation technique's origin energy would once again fill his Dantian. Only then would the Dharma 1000 transformation technique be considered to have broken through to the entry level, and Ren would be considered to have successfully taken the first step. It was because it was very troublesome to recultivate a technique. Moreover, some techniques required a martial artist's talent and perception to be very high. Therefore, ordinary martial artists would not casually change their techniques. However, for Ren, he did not need to consider this point. Ever since his body had merged with the Immortal refining cauldron, his talent and perception might not be unparalleled in the world, but could still beat the young geniuses of the Dacha dynasty. Unknowingly, half a day had passed. In the room, Ren was still nervously cultivating the Dharma 1000 transformation technique. His forehead could not help but drip with sweat. Dharma 1000 transformation technique. Breakthrough. Suddenly, he shouted. In the next moment, Ren's entire body shook. A bright light shot out from his eyes, like a sharp sword being unsheathed. I've finally reached the entry level. What a domineering origin energy. As expected of a rare 9th rank technique. he slowly extended his left hand. In the next moment, a strand of strange golden origin energy appeared in his palm. Fei Ren's delicate and handsome face revealed a trace of joy and surprise at the same time, as if he was deeply shocked by the miraculous Dharma 1000 transformation technique. It was different from the black tortoise longevity scripture origin energy that he had cultivated before. The origin energy that Fei Ren had condensed from the Dharma 1000 transformation technique was golden in color, and its power was even stronger. According to the records of the Dharma 1000 transformation technique, if this small strand of golden origin energy was condensed into a weapon, even a third-grade spirit treasure would find it difficult to block it. Golden origin energy. Let me see if it's that powerful. Whoosh! The spirit ring on his right index finger flashed. In the next moment, a black shield appeared and landed in front of Fei Ren. This black shield was obtained by Fei Ren from killing a rogue cultivator in the ancient tomb. It was a defensive spirit treasure. Although its rank was not high, it was still a quasi-third-grade spirit treasure. It could be sold for a good price in the black market outside. Go! The golden origin energy in his left palm instantly condensed into a golden blade. In the next moment, Fei Ren flicked his finger, and the golden origin energy ruthlessly pierced towards the black shield on the ground. Clang! Bang! Accompanied by the sound of metal clashing, the black shield, which originally had a good defense, was actually split into two. Spiderweb-like cracks densely covered it. It was obvious that it was not able to withstand the impact of the golden blade and collapsed in an instant. Haha, it's indeed powerful. Seeing that this quasi-third-grade spirit treasure was instantly destroyed, Fei Ren laughed heartily. He was in a good mood. During this trip to the Pill Tower, not only did he break through to the third layer of the profound martial realm, but he also obtained the 9th-grade cultivation method, the Dharma 1000 transformation technique. It could be said that he had gained a lot. Although I can't condense the Dharma Golden Buddha body yet, with just the golden origin energy alone, martial artists below the 7th level of the Star Realm may not necessarily be my match. Withdrawing the golden origin energy in his palm, Fei Ren's expression changed. Although he had cultivated the Dharma 1000 transformation technique to the beginner realm, he had yet to condense the Dharma Golden Buddha body. He had only grasped the golden origin energy because if he wanted to unleash the power of the Dharma Golden Buddha body, he had to at least cultivate this cultivation method to the initial realm. According to the records of the Dharma 1000 transformation technique in the depths of Fei Ren's mind, after cultivating this cultivation method to the initial realm, the martial artist's arms would be transformed into Dharma Golden Buddhas. Regardless of whether it was attack or defense, the martial artist's limbs and upper body would be transformed into Dharma Golden Buddhas, and his strength would skyrocket again. As for condensing the true acquired Dharma Golden Buddha body, he would have to cultivate the 9th-grade cultivation method, the Dharma 1000 transformation technique, to the perfection realm. Only then could he perfectly condense the true acquired Dharma 1000 transformation technique and unleash the full power of the Dharma 1000 transformation technique. Phew! Slowly getting up, Fei Ren exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Then, he began to cultivate other cultivation methods. After all, the Dharma 1000 transformation technique was a 9th-grade cultivation method. This cultivation method couldn't be cultivated in a day. He was very clear about this in his heart. Currently, his origin energy cultivation hadn't broken through too much. Hence, he planned to further improve his great flying earth burrowing technique and cultivate the 5-Mountain King capturing palm. Although he had already reached the perfection realm for the 5-Mountain King capturing palm, as the saying goes, turning something rotten into something magical. If a cultivation method was cultivated to the limit, its power could also be increased. It wasn't completely useless. The great flying earth burrowing technique could allow martial artists below the martial master realm to grasp the ability to fly in the air. At the same time, the speed of the movement method would greatly increase. As a rare 6th-grade movement method, Fei Ren naturally didn't slack off. Chapter 169. 3 days later, in a dense forest on the outskirts of the imperial city, whoosh! A gray figure streaked across the sky and landed steadily on top of a tree. His body was as straight as a sword, and a pair of beautiful origin power wings bloomed on his back. The flying sky and earth-burrowing technique has reached the minor completion stage. Now, even a 7th-level star realm martial artist can't catch up with my speed. Fei Ren exhaled softly and retracted the origin power wings on his back. He then landed on the ground. After 3 days of hard cultivation, his flying sky and earth-burrowing technique had finally reached the minor completion stage. His speed had more than doubled. Although it wasn't as fast as the Ghost Shadow perplexing track, ordinary star realm martial artists couldn't catch up with Fei Ren at all. Moreover, Fei Ren had already mastered the ability to fly. When he unleashed his full speed, he was as fast as a martial artist of the 9th level of the star realm, or even faster. Unless a martial mentor came out, it would be very difficult for an ordinary martial artist of the star realm to kill Fei Ren. In other words, if he wanted to run now, no one could stop him. With the flying sky and earth-burrowing technique, Fei Ren was like holding a trump card that could save his life. In the current Dacha dynasty, the only person who has the chance to reach the martial mentor level is the Emperor Chu Tianyong. When my cultivation breaks through again, I wonder if I can compete with a real martial mentor expert. The spirit ring on his index finger flashed. The next moment, the green dragon halberd appeared in his hand. This 5th-grade spirit treasure was one of Zhang Qingyang's relics. At the same time, it was his life weapon. Now, it had benefited Fei Ren. Although his origin power cultivation was still at the 2nd-level star realm, with the breakthrough of the flying sky and earth-burrowing technique and the Dharma 1000 transformation technique, Fei Ren's strength had increased a lot. He was now comparable to a 6th-level star realm martial artist. In addition, his weapon was a 5th-grade spirit treasure, the green dragon halberd. Its power was even greater. He wasn't afraid of facing an 8th-level star realm martial artist. However, it was still a bit difficult for him to face a real martial mentor expert. Also, due to the restriction of his realm, Fei Ren's origin power was slightly less. It was difficult for him to sustain the fierce battle. Clang! Rumble! When the halberd was unsheathed, Fei Ren's wrist trembled slightly. In the next moment, the green dragon halberd in his palm broke through the air and ruthlessly pierced towards the huge tree not far away. Golden yuan power wrapped around the halberd, as if a golden dragon had been born. In an instant, the dense forest in front of him was annihilated, turning into a mess. So strong. Withdrawing his halberd, Fei Ren's expression changed slightly. He hadn't used any martial arts in this attack, and he had only used less than 30% of his origin power. However, the power of this attack was comparable to the full power attack of a 5th-level star realm martial artist. It was obvious that the golden origin power and the azure dragon halberd were quite powerful. The combination of the two could be called a powerful combination. The power of this spirit treasure is too terrifying. With my current strength, I don't think I can protect it, Fei Ren thought to himself. In the next moment, he took out a large piece of white cloth from his spirit ring and wrapped it around the green dragon halberd. At the same time, the weapon's sharpness was completely covered. Even the aura of the spirit treasure was reduced a little. Only the sharp head of the dragon halberd was exposed. The azure dragon halberd was a grade 5 spirit treasure. In the entire Darchu dynasty, the number of martial artists that possessed a grade 5 spirit treasure could be counted on one's fingers, and there wasn't even one. Thus, Fei Ren had to be cautious, but this was only temporary. Once his cultivation advanced once more, he wouldn't have to be so secretive. The World Hero Competition will be held in 3 months. During this time, I can cultivate the Dharma 1000 transformation technique and the great art of flying heaven and escaping earth. At the same time, I can also temper the power of the green dragon halberd. Fei Ren's eyes flashed. In the next moment, he also carried the green dragon halberd on his back. At the same time, he condensed a pair of spirit wings and flew toward the depths of the mountain not far away. The World Hero Competition was one of the martial arts events held every 10 years in the Dacia dynasty. Every time, it would attract countless young martial artists and martial arts geniuses to participate. It could be said that geniuses and experts were as common as clouds. Most of the top experts in the imperial court all became famous in the World Hero Competition. Therefore, the value of the World Hero Competition was very high. Young martial artists who could achieve a certain result and rank in the competition would definitely have great achievements in the future. They might even be noticed by the 3-9 ranks of the great families and the Great Shu imperial family and become an existence that could dominate a region. Long family hall. What did you say? Lu Xiaoxiao fell in love with a country bumpkin from another county. A shout rang out as a handsome young man walked up to Niefeng. He then crushed the exquisite teacup in his hand, causing it to turn into powder. There was a faint expression of rage on his face. That's right, cousin. And that kid is very powerful. Even I am not his match. Niefeng swallowed a mouthful of saliva as he raised his head to look at the handsome young man in front of him, after which he spoke weakly. His tone was servile, and he didn't have the overbearing attitude he had in the Pill Tower. He was just like a little brother. The handsome young man in front of him was called Long Jingqiu. His cultivation was profound, and he was the eldest son of the Long family, a first-rate power in the imperial city. His father was a first-rate official in the imperial court, and he had a great reputation in the imperial city. Even Niefeng and his Nief family had to rely on him. In the past, the Nief family and the Long family had a marriage alliance due to some benefits. Therefore, the two families were somewhat related. However, Niefeng had always been proud and arrogant. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he did not want to lower his head to Long Jingqiu. Although Long Jingqiu was his cousin in name, he was also one of Niefeng's rivals in love. He knew that Long Jingqiu also liked Lu Xiaoxiao from the Alchemist Guild. However, in order to defeat Fei Run, he had no choice but to do this. Back in the Pill Pagoda, even Xing Darong, who was at the first level of the Star Realm, was not Fei Ren's match. Niefeng knew that. Moreover, Fei Ren was protected by Sita Lai, so he could not use the Star Realm martial artists in his family. Therefore, he could only look for Long Jingqiu. If it wasn't for revenge, I wouldn't lower my head to you. Do you really think I'm stupid? The people of your Long family are not good people either. Thinking of this, Niefeng lowered his head again, and a trace of viciousness flashed in his eyes. Although the Nief family and the Long family were relatives, the two families also had some conflicts of interest in the imperial city. These conflicts of interest did not disappear because of the marriage between the two families. Instead, they had become more and more intense in recent years, and there were even some conflicts in the dark. Brother Nya, although this brat called Fei Run deserves to die, you should know that I never do things that do not benefit me. The anger on Long Jingqiu's face faded a little, and he turned to look at Niefeng in front of him. His slender hand gently fiddled with his fingernails, and his tone was hinting at something. Lu Xiaoxiao was his exclusive property. Even if Niefeng did not come to complain, he would not let Fei Ren off so easily. However, that was that. Long Jingqiu was very clear about the conflicts between the Nief family and the Long family. Now that there was an opportunity to make Niefeng suffer, he naturally would not miss it. This guy. Hearing the other party's words, Niefeng's eyes flashed, as if he had expected this. As long as cousin can teach that Fei Ren a lesson, I will give you a big gift whether you kill him or cripple him. I will definitely not disappoint you, cousin. Stealing his heart, Niefeng once again cupped his hands together and said coldly, one could not trap a wolf without sacrificing a child. In order to take revenge on Fei Run, he was willing to pay a huge price. When he thought of how he was ruthlessly stepped on by Fei Run in the Pill Tower, and how he was unable to move, and how he looked at him with a cold gaze as if he was looking at trash and ants, Niefeng's heart would surge with boundless anger. Chapter 170. Very good. Then I'll accompany you to meet that country bumpkin. Long Jingqiu grinned when he saw Nye Feng offer a generous reward, as if he had achieved his goal. With cousin strength, dealing with that kid called Fei Run will be as easy as blowing off dust. Nye Feng stood up, seeing that Long Jingqiu had finally agreed to fight. He secretly clenched his fists and flattered him. Not only was Long Jingqiu the eldest young master of the Long family, he was also one of the famous genius martial artists in and out of the Imperial City. His origin energy cultivation had reached the 3rd level of the Star Realm, and he was not weaker than some of the princes of the Chu clan and the elite disciples of the 3 and 9 ranks of the great families. In addition, the Long family was backed by the Imperial Court. Even some veteran high-level Star Realm martial artists would not choose to offend the Long family unless they had no other choice. Therefore, Nye Feng was full of confidence this time. He was determined to ruthlessly trample Fei Run under his feet and take revenge. Fei Run, you're finished. Thinking so in his heart, a murderous aura appeared in Nye Feng's eyes. In the outskirts of the Imperial City, 2 figures were galloping like the wind, one in front and one behind. They were Long Jingqiu and Nye Feng. Brother Nye, are you sure this Fei Run has left the Alchemist Guild? Long Jingqiu frowned slightly as he turned around to look at Nye Feng behind him. If it weren't for Nye Feng's promised reward and teaching Fei Run a lesson for attracting Lu Xiaoxiao's attention, Long Jingqiu wouldn't have been willing to do it himself. After all, when one's cultivation reached the Star Realm, every breakthrough was extremely difficult. Long Jingqiu didn't want to do something that would waste time. It's absolutely true. Cousin, my family spies reported a few days ago that Fei Run left the Alchemist Guild early and went to the mountain range in the outskirts to train. He hasn't returned yet. Nye Feng didn't dare to be negligent in the face of Long Jingqiu's suspicion. He hurriedly spoke as if he was afraid that Long Jingqiu would go back on his word. Don't worry, since that kid has come out, I won't let him go back. Long Jingqiu sneered when he heard this. A ferocious glint flickered in his pitch-black eyes. Obviously, he had made up his mind to kill. Lu Xiaoxiao was one of the genius alchemists of the Alchemist Guild. Not only was she beautiful, but she also had an extraordinary background. The Lu clan and Situ Lai behind her were both famous existences inside and outside the Imperial City. Naturally, there were many suitors, and Long Jingqiu was one of them. Although Long Jingqiu had yet to win Lu Xiaoxiao's favor, he had already regarded Lu Xiaoxiao as his exclusive property in the depths of his heart. He would not allow anyone else to touch her, let alone Fei Run, a loose cultivator from another county. Moreover, according to Nye Feng's information, Fei Run's origin energy cultivation was only at the 2nd level of the Star Realm. On the other hand, Long Jingqiu's origin energy cultivation was at the 3rd level of the Star Realm. Moreover, his battle experience was quite good, and he could even fight a martial artist at the 4th level of the Star Realm. Therefore, he was naturally not afraid. In the dense forest, Fei Run slowly came to a stop and looked into the distance. Someone's coming. Just a moment ago, he suddenly sensed 2 strong waves of origin energy coming toward him. Moreover, one of the waves was very familiar. Did Nye Feng call for reinforcements? After thinking for a moment, Fei Run withdrew his origin energy with a mocking expression. The people who had conflicts with him before were none other than Song Yuan and Nye Feng from the Alchemist Guild. Song Yuan had already been beaten up by him in the Pill Tower. His face was swollen like a pig's head, so he naturally did not dare to provoke him. Instead, it was Nye Feng, whom he had let go of, who would most likely come to seek revenge. I was kind enough to let you go. This time, you insist on coming to die. Don't blame me. Thinking of this, Fei Run couldn't help but slightly raise the corners of his mouth, revealing a grim smile. The world of martial artists had always been one where the strong preyed on the weak. Although he did not want to become enemies with the first-rate force behind Nye Feng, the Nye family, since they had repeatedly bullied him, he would not be polite. Moreover, almost none of the people who had pursued him over the years had a good ending. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, 2 figures suddenly rushed out of the dense forest. One of them had a pale and delicate face with spirited eyes. It was Nye Feng, who had suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of Fei Run. As for the handsome young man beside him, it was the eldest young master of the Long family, Long Jingqiu. "Oh, isn't this young master Nye? What business do you have with me?" Seeing that it was indeed Nye Feng, Fei Run immediately crossed his arms in front of his chest. He did not have any intention of running away and spoke in a mocking tone. Nye Feng, whose strength was only at the 10th level of the Middle Unity Realm, was nothing to be afraid of. On the contrary, Long Jingqiu, who was beside him, was a bit of a threat. Long Jingqiu's origin energy cultivation was at the 3rd level of the Star Realm. Moreover, he was also a genius martial artist. Fei Run would need at least an incense stick's worth of time to get rid of him. Therefore, he was not in a hurry to make a move. "Kid, don't be too arrogant." This time, without the protection of Old Man Situ and the Alchemist Guild, let's see where you can run to. Seeing that Fei Run still had a calm and composed expression, Nye Feng's face became slightly angry and he shouted sternly, "Protection? I say, surnamed Nye, did you make a mistake? That day in the Pill Tower, if it wasn't for the fact that I was worried about Senior Situ and the Alchemist Guild's face, I would have already killed you with a single palm. Would I still have a chance to keep you here to talk nonsense with me?" Hearing this, Fei Run smiled faintly and spoke in a mocking tone. "Bastard. Cousin, this kid is too arrogant. I still have to ask you to take action." Although he couldn't stand Fei Run's pretentiousness, he knew that his strength was insufficient. At this moment, the veins on Nye Feng's forehead were bulging. He then gritted his teeth and spoke to Long Jingqiu, who was beside him. He wished that Long Jingqiu would immediately skin Fei Run and kill him as an example. "Hee, brother Nye, don't be angry. This kid only knows how to talk nonsense. He won't be able to escape." Glancing at the furious Nye Feng beside him, Long Jingqiu's face was gloomy. He then waved his hand and said, clearly very confident in dealing with Fei Run, "Kid, I can give you a chance to live. As long as you break your own arms and obediently kowtow to this young master can spare your life." Looking at Fei Run again, Long Jingqiu fiddled with his slender fingernails. His tone was cold, as if Fei Run was already a person who was about to die. "Who are you?" Narrowing his eyes, Fei Run was indifferent. "You don't even know the eldest young master of the Long family, Long Jingqiu? You are indeed a bumpkin from the countryside." On the side, before Long Jingqiu could speak, Nye Feng spoke in a strange tone. His face was full of evil intentions, as if he really wanted to see Fei Run suffer. Since when did a fly have the right to interrupt a person's speech? Hearing this, Fei Run was not angry. Instead, he laughed and spoke in a mocking tone. "Bastard, how dare you scold me?" As soon as he finished speaking, the smile on Nye Feng's face instantly disappeared. He immediately flew into a rage. Strands of origin energy surged out from his body. However, just as he was about to attack, he was stopped by Long Jingqiu. "Don't fall for it. You're no match for him." Long Jingqiu's tone was indifferent, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. Just as he expected, Fei Run was not weak. Moreover, he was also very tough. It was obvious that he would not easily bow his head. Moreover, he was someone who could be persuaded by reason, but not cowed by force. "Cousin," looking at Long Jingqiu in front of him, Nye Feng's face was full of resentment. At the same time, he retreated to the dense forest behind him. It was obvious that he had regained a trace of rationality. He did not brazenly attack Fei Run. That would only be courting death. This guy is quite calm. However, this is useless. Only a powerful fist is the absolute truth. Glancing at the calm and murderous Long Jingqiu, Fei Run also licked his lips. His eyes instantly lit up with a burning desire to fight. Now that both the Dharma Thousand Transformation Technique and Flying Heaven and Earth Burrowing Technique had broken through, his strength had also increased by a lot. Ordinary martial artists of the same level were no match for him at all. Since Long Jingqiu wanted to kill him, how could Fei Run not want to fight to his heart's content? He wanted to test how strong he was now. After all, fighting with a human martial artist of the same level was far better than cultivating in seclusion and fighting with magical beasts. Most magical beasts had low intelligence, so the experience was naturally not as good as fighting with human martial artists of the same level. Chapter 171. Brat, since you insist on seeking death, I'll fulfill your wish. After shouting at Nia Feng, Long Jingqiu sneered. Then, his body turned into an afterimage and disappeared on the spot, heading straight for Fei Run. Die! Surging origin power surged as Long Jingqiu struck out with his palm, aiming at Fei Ren's head. His attack was swift, and it was obvious that he wanted to kill him with one strike. Swish! In the face of Long Jingqiu's attack, Fei Ren did not panic. He lightly tapped the ground with his feet and dodged to the side, easily dodging Long Jingqiu's palm strike. At the same time, he threw out a punch with a backhand, sending out a large amount of yuan energy. Bang! Rumble! As the fist and palm collided, two huge origin powers exploded and thunder rumbled. In the next moment, Long Jingqiu and Fei Ren both took a few steps back. Their expressions were different, and it seemed that they were evenly matched. How is this possible? This brat is only at the second level of the Star Realm. How can he block my full-strength attack? Long Jingqiu's face gradually turned serious, and he was secretly shocked. Although he did not use any martial arts in that move, he had used all of the yuan power in his body. It could be said that he had used all of his strength. However, he was only able to fight evenly with Fei Ren. Obviously, it was hard for him to accept. In Long Jingqiu's mind, even if Fei Ren could defeat Xing Daorong, he was far from being a match for him. He would lose within 10 moves. However, he had underestimated Fei Ren. Long Jingqiu, your strength is not bad, but you're not qualified to kill me. Fei Ren also shook his sore wrist, and his expression did not change. He had only used 50% of his strength in that punch to test his opponent's moves. Moreover, he did not use his golden origin power or other martial arts. It was purely physical strength. Otherwise, even if Long Jingqiu attacked with all his strength, it would be difficult to shake him. Arrogant brat. In the face of Fei Ren's calmness, Long Jingqiu's face was as gloomy as stagnant water. Then his body shot out again and attacked. This brat is a little strange. I have to end this quickly. Dragon Cry Palm. Long Jingqiu pondered in his heart. In the next moment, he arrived in front of Fei Ren. At the same time, he let out a loud roar and blasted out a giant palm condensed from yuan power. Above the giant palm, a green dragon could be faintly seen circling around it. The dragon's roar resounded in the air. It was merely a grade 3 martial art with impressive power. Level 3 martial arts? Insignificant skill. In the face of Long Jingqiu's attack, Fei Ren did not retreat. Instead, he charged forward with a roar. Both of his hands blasted out dozens of giant elemental energy palms. The giant elemental energy palms glowed with golden light, looking extremely magical. Then they clashed head-on with the giant green dragon. Compared to the other party's grade 3 martial art, his 5 Mountain King capturing palm was a quasi-grade 4 martial art. Furthermore, under the augmentation of the Dharma 1000 transformation technique's golden essence force, its might was even greater. Boom! Rumble! The giant yuan power palm and the giant green dragon entwined together. The dragon roared and the mountain range appeared. After a few breaths, the palm was finally unable to withstand the remnant force and exploded. An extremely powerful yuan power remnant force swept towards Long Jingqiu. What? Long Jingqiu was shocked. He never imagined that his trump card, the Dragon Roar Palm, would be unable to withstand Fei Ren's attack. Damn it! In the blink of an eye, the remnant force of the yuan power arrived. Long Jingqiu had no chance of dodging. He immediately mobilized all the yuan power in his body and formed a green defensive barrier in front of him. He planned to take the attack head-on. Bang! Kala Kala! The remaining power of the origin power fiercely collided with the green defensive barrier. In the next moment, spiderweb-like cracks appeared on the green defensive barrier. In the end, it exploded and turned into nothingness. Pucci, with his defense broken, Long Jingcho spat out a mouthful of blood. His body couldn't help but go limp as he knelt on one knee on the ground. His eyes were filled with shock as he looked at Fei Ren. 3 moves. In less than 3 moves, he was defeated. Moreover, he was completely defeated. He didn't have the slightest strength to resist. How is this possible? On the side, Nie Feng, who was watching the battle, was also shocked. Fei Ren, who was only at the 2nd level of the Star Realm, was actually able to defeat Long Jingcho, who was at the 3rd level of the Star Realm. Moreover, Long Jingcho was one of the famous genius martial artists in and out of the Imperial City. This was something that he had never expected. Since you want to kill me, then leave your lives behind today, slowly withdrawing his palm. Fei Ren's expression was as calm as water. However, the killing intent on his body didn't decrease in the slightest. Since the other party had come looking for revenge, he naturally wouldn't let the tiger return to the mountain. Swish! Not good. Suddenly, Fei Ren's figure gradually distorted and disappeared. In the next moment, Long Jingcho's expression changed drastically. At the same time, he turned his head to look in Nie Feng's direction. Long Jingcho can't save you, I've said it before. Since you insist on looking for me, then I won't show mercy. At this moment, Fei Ren grabbed Nie Feng's neck with his palm and raised him high. His expression was cold and emotionless. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Fei Ren, I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Please let me go. Nie Feng's body kept struggling in the air. At this moment, his face was flushed red and his eyes were filled with fear. It was as if the Fei Ren in front of him wasn't a human, but a bloodthirsty demon. Die! The corner of Fei Ren's mouth rose slightly. In the next moment, he exerted force in his palm and instantly twisted Nie Feng's head off. White and yellow matter splattered all over the ground. Then, he threw the corpse to the side. Damn it, this guy is actually so strong. It seems that I can only ask Father to take action. Long Jingcho's pupil shrank. Seeing Fei Ren easily kill Nie Feng, he knew that he was no match for Fei Ren. At this moment, the thought of retreating arose in his heart. It's your turn now, young Master Long. After casually killing Nie Feng, Fei Ren put away the spirit ring left behind on the corpse. In the next moment, he raised his eyes and looked at Long Jingcho, who was not far away. Although Long Jingcho was much stronger than Nie Feng, he was only a little more troublesome for Fei Ren. Currently, martial artists below the 7th level of the Star Realm were no match for him. If there were no accidents, Fei Ren would only need about 10 moves to kill Long Jingcho. Now that Fei Ren's great flying earth escaping technique had reached the initial stage, his movement was as fast as lightning and his afterimages were invisible. Even if Long Jingcho wanted to run, it would be useless. He was confident that he could catch up to him and kill him. Fei Ren, our Long family has no enmity with you. This time, I only listened to that bastard Nie Feng's slanderous words. Why do you have to fight to the death? Seeing Fei Ren's cold gaze, Long Jingcho unexpectedly grinned and spoke in a meaningful tone. At the same time, he secretly circulated his origin power, as if he was looking for an opportunity to escape. 5 Mountain King, capturing palm. With a cold snort, Fei Ren didn't waste time talking nonsense with his opponent. His figure disappeared again, and at the same time, he stepped on an afterimage and blasted a palm toward Long Jingcho. He wasn't an ignorant 3-year-old child. He had already killed Nie Feng and offended Long Jingcho. Even if he let Long Jingcho go, the Nie family and the Long family wouldn't let him go so easily. Now, he had to kill his opponent to prevent future troubles. Dragon Shadow Escape. Seeing that Fei Ren didn't fall for his trick, Long Jingcho's eyelids twitched. He immediately shouted and formed a strange seal with both hands. At the same time, his entire body turned into an afterimage of a flood dragon and fled into the dense forest beside him, as if he wanted to escape. Where do you think you're going? Seeing that Long Jingcho was planning to escape, Fei Ren was obviously surprised. He immediately flicked his finger and a golden origin power swept out and instantly turned into a sharp golden blade. Then, it shot toward the flood dragon's afterimage and hit its weak point. Long Jingcho's miserable scream came from the dense forest. In the next moment, the flood dragon's afterimage actually fled into the ground under his feet and disappeared completely, leaving behind only a pile of dust. He ran away, sensing that Long Jingcho's aura was getting farther and farther away. Fei Ren frowned slightly and immediately withdrew his origin power. Since he couldn't kill Long Jingcho this time, he had formed a grudge with the Long family in the Imperial City. It was inevitable that there would be some trouble in the future. This Dragon Shadow escape is a unique skill for escaping. However, you won't be so lucky the next time you encounter it. Gently exhaling a mouthful of turbid air, Fei Ren also flew away. Clearly, he didn't intend to pursue. After all, his opponent had already run far away. Moreover, Long Jingcho's Dragon Shadow escape wasn't inferior to his speed. It seemed to be a rare movement martial art. Therefore, Fei Ren didn't want to waste time. As long as the Long family didn't provoke him, he wouldn't bother to find trouble with them. Chapter 172. Although Long Jingcho managed to escape, Fei Ren didn't come out empty-handed. Niefeng's spirit ring also contained many good things. Worthy of being a direct descendant of a first-rate power, the Nief family. He is indeed rich, using his yuan power to check his body. Fei Ren found out that there were at least hundreds of thousands of low-grade yuan stones, some medicinal ingredients below rank 3, and a dozen yellow-ranked demon nuclei with good quality. It was quite a fortune. This is... His eyes flashed and finally fell on a corner of the spirit ring. He saw a simple, gray secret manual quietly lying in the corner. It seemed that no one was interested in it, but Fei Ren could tell that it was extraordinary with a single glance. A spirit attribute martial art. Fei Ren had an indescribable intuition that this gray secret manual was definitely a spirit attribute martial art. Moreover, its rank was no lower than 3rd grade. Spirit Blade, it really is a 3rd grade martial art. With a thought, he took out the gray secret manual from the spirit ring. Fei Ren's face slightly flickered with a hint of joy. The gray secret manual in front of him was indeed a 3rd grade martial art. Moreover, it was a relatively rare spirit attribute martial art. Its value was several times higher than an ordinary 3rd grade martial art. It could be said that there was no market for it. It was more than enough to exchange for tens of thousands of low-grade origin stones. Niefeng probably wanted to wait until his spiritual power broke through to the 3rd layer of the profound martial realm before cultivating this 3rd grade martial art. Unfortunately, it ended up benefiting me. Although Fei Ren didn't know how Niefeng obtained such a rare spirit attribute martial art, he didn't think too much about it. Now that he had obtained it, he didn't lose anything. If he could successfully cultivate this 3rd grade martial art, Spirit Blade, his strength would increase by a lot. According to the Gray Secret Manual, a martial artist's spiritual power had to be at least at the 3rd layer of the profound martial realm. Otherwise, it would be difficult to display the full power of this martial art. Moreover, the spiritual power seed in the depths of one's mind wouldn't be able to withstand the impact of this martial art. It would be easy to go berserk. Thus, even though he was bashed up by Fei Ren earlier, and even when he was on the verge of death, Niefeng didn't utilize Spirit Blade. The fundamental reason was that he didn't have the qualifications to cultivate it, and it was like he had 1,000 taels of silver in his possession, yet had nowhere to spend it, causing him to be extremely miserable. After all, the conditions to cultivate the Spirit Blade were very harsh, and one's mental power had to reach the 3rd level of the profound martial realm. In the entire Alchemist Guild, aside from Medicine King Lin Feng and Vice President Sidu Lai, there were only a few elders who had reached this realm. Most of the alchemists were below the 2nd stage of the profound martial realm. Even geniuses like Lu Xiaoxiao and Xing Daorong were the same. Swish! After reciting the Spirit Blade's secret manual in his heart, Fei Ren raised his hand and condensed a ball of yuan energy flame. At the same time, he burned the Spirit Blade secret manual into ashes. It's time to leave. Now that Niefeng was dead, Long Jingqiu had fled in panic. Although he had offended the Long clan, he had also obtained a grade 3 mental attribute martial art. It could be said that there were gains and losses. Moreover, after witnessing his terrifying strength, even if Long Jingqiu wanted to seek revenge, he would not dare to appear again in a short period of time. Although the Long family was a first-rate force in the imperial city and had a huge network of connections both inside and outside the imperial court, Fei Ren wasn't a pushover either. If others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. He didn't even put Prince Jin, Chu Wan, in his eyes, so he naturally wasn't afraid of the Long family's threat. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Moreover, the current patriarch of the Long family was only at the 7th level of the Star Realm. If he used all his trump cards, even if the patriarch of the Long family came to kill him, Fei Ren still had the power to fight him. The worst-case scenario would be him being besieged by numerous Star Realm cultivators of the Long family. However, Fei Ren also had a life-saving method. Even if he couldn't win in the end, he could use the Great Flying Earth Escape technique to escape. No one below the Martial Master realm could do anything to him. Swish! With a palm strike, Fei Ren shattered Niefeng's corpse and turned it into dust. In the next moment, Fei Ren condensed a pair of origin power wings and hurriedly left the mountain range. Imperial City, Long family, father. With a plop, Long Jingqiu actually knelt on the ground with a miserable expression. In front of him stood a white-haired old man with a gloomy expression. You still have the face to come back. A mere nameless rogue cultivator actually forced you into a desperate situation. To think that you're my son. The white-haired old man's voice was fierce and dignified. The aura of a superior arose spontaneously, causing people to tremble in fear. Father, that bastard isn't an ordinary rogue cultivator. He's extremely powerful and isn't weaker than the disciples of the 3 and 9 ranks of the great families. Moreover, his origin power cultivation has also reached the 2nd level of the Star Realm. Niefeng died at his hands. If I hadn't used Dragon Shadow Escape to escape in time, I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to see me now. Faced with the white-haired old man's reprimand, Long Jingqiu's expression was extremely unsightly. He then lowered his head and spoke in a low voice, as if he didn't even dare to breathe loudly in front of the white-haired old man. The white-haired old man in front of him was called Long Zhenwu, and he was the current head of the Long family. His origin power cultivation had reached the 7th level of the Star Realm, which was extremely extraordinary. Moreover, he was a first-rank official of the imperial court. He had a great reputation in the Dacha dynasty and was favored by Emperor Chu Tianyang. Because of this relationship, although the Long family was only a first-rate force in the imperial city, ordinary families and martial artists didn't dare to provoke them. Even the people of the 3 and 9 ranks of the great families would be polite on the surface when they encountered the Long family. Generally, they wouldn't easily become enemies. When did such a genius appear in the imperial city? Long Zhenwu's expression was as gloomy as stagnant water. Since the other party dared to attack Long Jingqiu, it was obvious that he didn't take the Long family seriously at all. After all, ordinary martial artists would mostly give up when they heard the name of the imperial city's Long family and wouldn't dare to become enemies with them. I don't know. Previously, Niefeng mentioned that this bastard called Fei Ren seemed to have a good relationship with old man Sido Lai of the Alchemist Guild. Father, you must avenge your son, Long Jingqiu said angrily as he looked at the gloomy face of Long Zhenwu in front of him. Jingqiu, go back and recuperate. Long Zhenwu snorted coldly as he glanced at Long Jingqiu, who was kneeling on the ground. So what if it's the Alchemist Guild? This brat dares to bully our Long family. This old man will definitely tear him into pieces as a warning to others. At the same time, Fei Ren didn't know that he was being targeted by the Long family. He was still cultivating in the depths of the forest, further improving his Dharma 1000 transformation technique and great art of flying heaven and earth burrowing. He was also cultivating the third-rank martial art Spirit Blade that he had just obtained. Although the power of the Spirit Blade was no different from an ordinary third-rank martial art, it was a mental attack. Ordinary Yuan energy defense wouldn't have much effect on it. Only martial artists and alchemists with powerful mental strength could easily neutralize it. With Fei Ren's current mental strength in the third stage of the profound martial realm, even an experienced alchemist like Situ Lai wouldn't dare to underestimate the Spirit Blade if he were to release it with all his strength. If he was careless, he might even be injured by the Spirit Blade. It was enough to show how overbearing this martial art was. Spirit Blade, go! With a flick of his mind, the mental energy in the depths of Fei Ren's mind slowly transformed into a sharp white blade. Then, it shot toward the giant tree not far away without a trace. Pop! A light sound came out as the giant tree not far away slowly fell down. Soon after, it burst open and turned into debris. This martial art is simply the ultimate move for assassination and sneak attacks. Slowly withdrawing his mental strength, Fei Ren's face was filled with astonishment. Compared to ordinary rank 3 martial arts, the Spirit Blade was not only powerful, but it was also invisible and formless. This kind of attack that came from the spiritual level was difficult for ordinary martial artists to guard against, let alone defend against. It was 10 times stronger than hidden weapons. Chapter 173. 3 days later, the Imperial City, the Alchemist Association. May I ask if you are Brother Fei Ren? Before Fei Ren could step into the entrance of the Alchemist Association, a green-clothed man greeted him with a smile. You are. Fei Ren was stunned when he saw the green-clothed man blocking his way. He did not recall seeing this person before. My name is Liao Xing. I was also inside the Pill Tower when it opened half a month ago. However, I was unable to reach the second level due to my lack of strength. It is normal for Brother Fei Ren to not remember me. The green-clothed man called Liao Xing grinned as he spoke. You are too polite. After pondering for a moment, Fei Ren also returned the greeting. Back then, there was indeed such a person in the Pill Tower. However, at that time, he was only thinking about absorbing the mental energy in the Pill Tower and did not pay much attention to other people. This is a letter from the Vice President. He specially asked me to pass it on. As he spoke, Liao Qing took out a jade scroll and passed it to Fei Ren. Could it be that something good is about to happen again? Fei Ren was surprised as he received the jade scroll. Previously, Situ Lai had invited him to participate in the Pill Tower duel that was held once every 5 years. Because of this, he had obtained the Dharma 1000 transformation technique, a grade 9 cultivation method. At the same time, his mental energy had broken through to the third level of the profound martial realm. He did not know why the other party had come looking for him this time. Brother Fei Ren, long time no see. I am Chang Qingshan from the Steel Corps. If you don't mind, let's meet at the Northern City Barracks. Yuan power seeped into the Jade Scroll as an extremely simple message appeared in Fei Ren's mind, causing him to be slightly surprised. So, it's him. Fei Ren had a thoughtful expression as he recalled the scene in the ancient tomb in the northern desolate province. However, how did this fellow know that I was in the Imperial City? Chang Qingshan was one of the deputy commanders of the Steel Corps. Although he was not as strong as the fourth commander, Xing Wenchong, whom he had a conflict with before, he was not weak. His Yuan power cultivation had reached the first level of the Star Realm. Moreover, he had obtained many opportunities in the ancient tomb. Fei Ren could be considered to have met him. Brother Fei Ren, what's wrong? Seeing Fei Ren's hesitant expression, Liao Xing probed in a low voice. It's nothing. Thank you for the information. I'll take my leave first. The corners of Fei Ren's mouth twitched, and he smiled again. Then, he cupped his hands and bid farewell. Although he did not know what Chang Qingshan was up to, since he had already invited him, there was no reason for him not to go. Moreover, when they were in the ancient tomb, other than the Yun family and the people from the Golden Rainbow Escort Service, No one else had any grudges against Fei Ren. It was the same for Chang Shan and his steel core. When they were fighting for the inheritance of the ancient tomb, Chang Shan did not attack Fei Ren secretly. Because of this, Chang Shan could consider being friends with him. He's only 17 or 18, but not only has his Yuan power cultivation reached the second level of the Star Realm, even Xing Daorong was defeated. This person truly deserves his title as a genius. No wonder the Vice Guild Master values him so highly. Looking at Fei Ren's departing figure, Liao Xing's face was filled with emotions as he sighed. The imperial city of the Chu dynasty was enormous, and it was divided into 4 districts: north, south, east, and west. The northern district was relatively sparsely populated, and it was also the headquarters of the Steel Corps. Other than the small number of soldiers scattered across the provinces, the majority of the soldiers and experts of the Steel Corps were gathered here, including the famous 4 commanders. Each of the 4 commanders was a veteran Star Realm expert, and they were also the elites of the Steel Corps. Each of them commanded thousands, even tens of thousands of soldiers. They were usually responsible for protecting the capital and the Chu clan. They were Emperor Chu Tianyang's Imperial Guard. As for Xing Wenchong, who had been defeated by Fei Ren, he was one of the weakest of the 4 commanders. If it had been any of the other 3 commanders, Fei Ren would not have been able to win so easily in that clash at the gates of the Imperial City. At the gate of the Steel Corps barracks, Brother Fei Ren, as expected, "It's you? I didn't think that you would also come to the Imperial City." The moment he arrived, Fei Ren saw a muscular man dressed in martial arts robes walking toward him, a smile on his tanned face. It was none other than Chang Shan. "Brother Chang, it's been a long time since we parted in the northern desolate province." Fei Ren clasped his hands and faintly smiled as he replied. Although Chang Shan was only a deputy commander of the Steel Corps, his strength had greatly improved. His origin power cultivation had reached the second level of the Star Realm, second only to the 4th commander, Xing Wenchong. Obviously, he had obtained a lot of benefits in the ancient tomb. "Little brother is too polite. Oh, your cultivation has reached Tier 2 of the Star Realm?" At this moment, Chang Shan sensed that Fei Ren's origin energy ripples were no weaker than his own, and his face paled in shock. Back then, Fei Ren had only been at Tier 9 of the Middle Unity Realm, but he had been able to kill the patriarch of the Yun family, the veteran Star Realm expert Yun Xian. Now that Fei Ren had also reached the Star Realm, his strength must have soared to a terrifying level. How could he not be shocked? I was just lucky. Seeing the constant changes in Chang Shan's expression, Fei Ren was very calm, and his tone was humble. "Little brother Fei Ren, you're still as low-key as ever. Fortunately, I didn't make you my enemy in the northern desolate province. Otherwise, my soldiers and I would have ended up like that old man Yun Xian." In the face of Fei Ren's modesty, Chang Shan shook his head and sighed with a smile. "Brother Chang, you flatter me. The Steel Corps is the Imperial Court's army, after all. That old man Yun Xian is just a martial artist. Even if he didn't provoke me back then, he wouldn't have dared to go against you, old brother. If he offended the Imperial Court's troops, he wouldn't be a match for the Imperial Court no matter how strong he is." As soon as he finished speaking, Fei Ren smiled faintly. It was obvious that he had hit the nail on the head. "That's right. Let's go and have a drink. We won't go home until we're drunk." Chang Shan laughed when he heard that. Then, he reached out and patted Fei Ren's shoulder. He was clearly in a good mood. "Little brother Fei Ren, were you the one who beat up Xing Wenchong at the city gate?" In a small tavern in the Imperial City, Chang Shan drank a big bowl of wine as he spoke. If there's no second Xing Wenchong in the Imperial City, it must be him. Hearing that, Fei Ren did not deny it. Then, he opened his mouth and ate a few peanuts as he spoke faintly. When he first came to the Imperial City, he did not want to fight with the Steel Corps. He only wanted to keep a low profile. However, the city guard were overbearing. Moreover, Xing Wenchong wanted to capture him as soon as he came, so he could only defend himself. If it were not for the Imperial Court's background, Fei Ren would have killed Xing Wenchong instead of letting them leave so easily. "Haha, well done. That bastard, I've always hated him. He's always bullied our brothers in the 3rd Battalion. I was just about to settle the score with him. Seeing Fei Ren's silent agreement, Chong Qingshan laughed. He seemed to have a grudge with Xing Wencheng. Brother Chong, you seem to be unhappy with this guy? Chong Qingshan's reaction naturally fell into Fei Ren's eyes. After drinking another bowl of wine, Fei Ren spoke. That's right. Although this guy is the 4th commander of the Corps, he's vengeful and evil. Basically, those who offend him don't have a good ending. Back then, one of my soldiers accidentally bumped into him and was beaten 100 times by him. He almost died. Hearing Fei Ren mention it, Chong Qingshan spoke in a resentful tone. It was obvious that his grudge with Xing Wencheng was not small. Chapter 174. So narrow-minded? Hearing this, Fei Ren had a strange expression on his face, as if he suddenly understood something. Back then at the entrance of the Imperial City, he had only injured a soldier of the Steel Corps in self-defense, and Xing Wencheng wanted to interrogate him so aggressively. It was indeed not without reason. If it was not for his strength, any other warrior would have been beaten to death on the spot. That's right, and this guy's talent is actually not that good. He could be considered as trash. Most of his cultivation came from consuming pills, so his overall strength is slightly weaker than warriors of the same level. Little brother, you should also understand this point. Nodding his head, Chong Qingshan revealed a disdainful expression. It seems that what Brother Chong said is true. Hearing this, Fei Ren also recalled the fight with Xing Wencheng. Although the other party had a cultivation of the 3rd level of the Star Realm, his fighting strength could not even withstand a single blow. He could not even block a single punch from him, and in the end, he retreated in a sorry state. Just as Chong Qingshan said, his strength and cultivation came from consuming pills, and his fighting strength was slightly weaker than warriors of the same level. All right, Brother Chong, how did this kind of trash become one of the 4 great commanders? Xing Wencheng's strength is not enough to convince the masses, right? After eating a few pieces of demonic beast barbecued meat, Fei Ren opened his mouth again. The Steel Corps was the imperial army of the Dacha dynasty, and the soldiers were all warriors who had experienced hundreds of battles. Naturally, the army respected martial arts, not to mention the famous 4 great commanders. In the Dacha dynasty, just this name alone could scare off many people. With Xing Wencheng's strength, he could become the 4th commander of the Steel Corps. It was indeed somewhat thought-provoking, and generally speaking, it would be difficult for him to convince the masses. He is a popular man under the great commander. Although his strength is not much, with the support of the great commander, it is not good for us to say anything. Moreover, in name, I, as the deputy commander, am also his subordinate. As if he had already expected Fei Ren's doubts, Chong Qingshan sighed helplessly as he drank his wine. Great commander? Fei Ren's expression was thoughtful. Lu Ming. As he spoke, Chong Qingshan's expression gradually turned serious. The Grand Commander's strength is very strong, far stronger than anyone in the army. Even if the other 3 commanders worked together, they were still not his match. In the Steel Corps, there were a total of 4 commanders. Among them, the great commander Lu Ming was the strongest. His cultivation had already reached the 8th level of the Star Realm, and his strength was unfathomable. Even within the Steel Corps, very few people had seen him in action. Lu Ming, I seem to have heard of this person's name before. He is indeed a powerful person. Frowning slightly, Fei Ren also secretly nodded. According to Chong Qingshan's description, Lu Ming's strength wasn't any weaker than King Jin Chu-1, who appeared in the Azure Sun Arena back then. With such strength, it was no wonder why he could become the great commander of the Steel Corps and control an army of the Imperial Court. After all, the Steel Corps belonged to the Imperial Guards under Emperor Chu Tianyang. Aside from Emperor Chu Tianyang's orders, there wasn't a second person in the entire Imperial Court, or even the Dachu dynasty, that could command Lu Ming. Brother Fei Ren, how else do you think this guy became the 4th commander? Xing Wencheng is relying on his relationship with the great commander, which is why he is so unrestrained in the Steel Corps. Even the second commander and third commander turn a blind eye to him. Unless it's a huge matter, they won't pursue him. Seeing Fei Rin's flickering expression, Chang Qingshan grinned and said. At the same time, his eyes revealed a hint of ridicule. Obviously, he was extremely disdainful of Xing Wencheng's method of relying on flattery to climb up the ranks. I never thought that there would be such a thing in the Steel Corps. This little brother has truly broadened my horizons. Taking a deep breath, Fei Rin said. Tisk, let's not talk about these trivial matters. Little brother, let's drink. In any case, this guy won't be arrogant for long. Slapping the table, Chang Qingshan called the waiter to add a few more dishes and good wine as he spoke. Brother, why do you say that? Seeing this, Fei Rin's chopsticks stopped in his hand, and his expression was slightly surprised. 7 days later, it'll be the day of the Steel Corps' internal competition. At the same time, the new 4 great commanders will be elected. At that time, I'll personally defeat this grandson. Even if the great commander protects him, he won't be able to continue being arrogant. Clenching his fists tightly, Chang Qingshan's expression was fierce. Currently, his origin power cultivation base had broken through to the 2nd-level star realm, and his strength was no weaker than the 3rd-level star realm. Naturally, he was full of confidence in facing off against Xing Wencheng, who was only at the 3rd-level star realm. Moreover, only by defeating Xing Wencheng could he become the new 4th commander and have the ability to protect his brothers. I see. Brother Chang, let me toast you. Hearing this, Fei Rin nodded slightly. Then, he picked up a bowl of good wine. Although he was not very interested in the matters of the Steel Corps, Chang Qingshan was a loyal man. He was indeed respectable for standing up for his soldiers. Unknowingly, the sun was setting and the two were drunk. However, both of them were high-star realm martial artists, so this bit of drunkenness could be quickly dispelled with origin power. Brother Fei Rin, 7 days later, you must come to the northern city barracks. Watch how I beat up that grandson, Xing Wencheng. Recalling Chang Qingshan's words before he left, Fei Rin had a playful expression on his face. Lu Ming, the Steel Corps' great commander. If Chu Wen really wants to rebel, this guy will be a difficult opponent. Back then, in the Azure Sun County City's arena, he was threatened by Prince Jin Chu Wen. At the same time, Prince Jin's subordinate, Xiahou Ba, even fed him with goo worms. It could be said that Prince Jin's methods were unscrupulous, and his goal was very obvious. Hiding his strength and biding his time, waiting for the right opportunity. As long as his wings were strong enough, Chu Wen's ambitions would be exposed. After all, he controlled the Steel Corps, so he naturally would not be willing to be a subordinate. Every martial artist in the Dachu dynasty knew how powerful the Steel Corps was. For the Chu clan to be able to dominate the world and keep the 3-9 ranks of the great families in check, other than the members of the royal family, the 2 corps under them were also very important. The Steel Corps and the Steel Corps were the imperial army of the imperial court. Both of them were controlled by Prince Jin, Chu Wen, and Emperor Chu Tianyang respectively. Among them, there were many martial artists, and there was no lack of high-star realm existences. Even the 3-9 ranks of the great families did not dare to underestimate them. After all, they did not dare to say that they could withstand the attack of the imperial army and the Chu clan by themselves. Even if the 3-9 ranks of the great families worked together, they might not necessarily be a match for the Chu clan and the 2 corps. Otherwise, the Chu clan would not have been able to suppress all the heroes and establish the country for over 100 years. Forget it. The matters of the world have nothing to do with me. Even if Chu Tianyang falls, the Chu clan will still be the strongest. However, Chu Wen, since you sent people to scheme and threaten me, this time I must make you bleed. Thinking of this, Fei Rin stretched his waist, and a trace of cunning appeared on his handsome face. If he did not have some dealings with Prince Jin, Chu Wen, he did not want to get involved. However, the other party sent people to drug and threaten him. Now that he finally came to the imperial city, he naturally would not easily let the other party go. Revenge. At this time, Fei Rin only had these 2 words in his heart. Like the disciples of the Chu clan, Prince Jin Chu Wen's mansion was also in the imperial city. However, it was adjacent to the imperial palace and was located in the depths of the southern city. Usually, the Prince Jin mansion was also heavily guarded, and there were very few people coming and going. Chu Wen was even more elusive. Even his trusted subordinate, Xiahou Ba, could not see him often. Chapter 175. The Jin mansion was brightly lit. Inside a classical stone pavilion, Chu Wen stood with his hands behind his back with a serious expression. "Your Highness, the order has been given." In the dark night, a black-clothed death warrior slowly appeared beside the pavilion and knelt on one knee. Not only was Chu Wen the famous Prince Jin, but he was also the leader of the Iron Armor Army. His power was monstrous. Facing his master, this black-clothed death warrior naturally did not dare to be negligent. Other than fanaticism, there was also loyalty in his eyes. "Very good. Tell Xiahou Ba to come and see me." Glancing at the black-clothed death warrior at his feet, Chu Wen's tone was indifferent. There was still half a month before the World Hero competition. At that time, most of the families and forces inside and outside the imperial city would be attracted. At the same time, a large number of martial artists would flood into the imperial city. It was the best time for him to seize power. "Brother, I've endured for many years for this day." Looking at the imperial palace in the distance, Chu Wen's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness. Currently, the Iron Armor Army was in charge of guarding the imperial city, not the Iron Armor Army under his control. Therefore, the time wasn't ripe yet. His ambitions and aspirations hadn't been exposed. In the eyes of outsiders, he was still the loyal Jin King and Chu Tianyang's right-hand man. However, the royal family didn't have blood ties. When Chu Tianyang first became suspicious and fearful of him, Chu Wen's heart was already twisted. He only wanted to overthrow the world and become the only emperor of the Dachu dynasty. "Your Highness." After the black-clothed death warrior retreated, Xiahou Ba also flew over with a serious expression. Compared to half a year ago, Xiahou Ba's strength had improved a lot. His origin power cultivation had also reached the first level of the Star Realm. However, perhaps because he had just broken through, his origin power waves were a little unstable. "How's it going?" Without turning his head, Chu Wen's tone was indifferent, like an emotionless machine. An emperor's aura spread out. "Your Highness, it's almost done. As long as you give the order, hundreds of thousands of soldiers will march and attack the capital." Xiahou Ba cupped his hands. His eyes burned with a burning desire to do battle. At the same time, his tone revealed a trace of excitement. He'd also waited a long time for this day. As long as King Jin, Chu Wen, could gain power and change the world, as one of Chu Wen's trusted subordinates, he could also have a meteoric rise and even be promoted to a first-class official in the imperial court. Therefore, Xiahou Ba was also eager for this operation. "Oh, those old guys from the 9 ranks of the great families haven't done anything. Aren't those people my royal brother's most hard-working lackeys?" Chu Wen didn't reveal much surprise or joy when he heard this. A wisp of ridicule appeared on his gloomy white face. No one knew what he was thinking in his heart at this moment. "Your Highness is wise and mighty. After cultivating in seclusion for many years, your strength has finally reached large success, and you have stepped into the 3rd realm of the martial body. Those old fellows have cultivated for most of their lives and have always been afraid of death. They're a group of fence-sitters. Naturally, they wouldn't dare to interfere in this matter. Also, I've roped in a large group of top experts as you instructed. Even if His Majesty has the help of the Steel Army, there's no way he can stop our hundreds of thousands of soldiers from entering the city." Xiahou Ba cupped his hands again and said respectfully, "Emperor? At this point, you still call that guy Emperor?" Just as he finished speaking, Chu Wen snorted coldly. His tone also became somewhat sinister. "Your subordinate misspoke. Please spare me, Your Highness. Chu Tianyang is still in the dark. He definitely won't think that the World Hero competition in half a month will be the date of his death. Seeing Chu suddenly become angry, Xiaohoba's heart also trembled. He seemed to know that he had violated some taboo. He immediately knelt on the ground and said with a trembling voice, "You may leave," Chu said coldly again. His expression was still cold. "Yes, your highness." Hearing this, Xiaohoba hurriedly got up and left in a hurry, as if he was afraid of angering the other party again. "This world is destined to be mine," Chu Wen. His gaze was fixed on the palace in the distance. Chu Wen's expression was fierce and determined. In the next moment, his figure turned into a cloud of black smoke and disappeared in an instant. It seemed to be a unique movement martial art. It was very magical. Imperial City, North City District, in front of the military camp. "Stop!" Just as Fei Run arrived at the entrance, two silver-armored soldiers standing guard at the side stepped forward and stopped him. "Who are you?" "This is the important place where the Steel Corps is stationed. Unauthorized people are not allowed to enter." One of the silver-armored soldiers spoke. His tone was cold, and his expression was serious. His eyes were full of caution as he looked at Fei Run. "I'm a friend of your Deputy Commander Chong. I was invited to observe." Seeing the two silver-armored soldiers looking at him with vigilance, Fei Run did not mind and said indifferently. Obviously, they thought that he was an outlaw. After all, this was an important place in the military camp. In the past, there were cases of warriors who trespassed into the military camp and were killed in the Imperial City. "Deputy Commander Chong." "You are a friend of Deputy Commander Chong Qingshan." Stunned for a moment, the two silver-armored soldiers looked at each other. One of them was surprised and puzzled. "That's right. This is his token." Nodding slightly, Fei Ren's palm swiped across the spirit ring on his index finger. Then, he took out a bronze token. The token was engraved with the word Chang. "It really is Deputy Commander Chang's personal token. Sir, please forgive us for offending you just now. This way, please." Seeing Fei Ren take out his personal token, the two silver-armored soldiers' expressions changed slightly. Then they bowed and cupped their fists. Their tone was fearful. "It's okay. You are very loyal to your duty. I will help you put in a good word in front of Chong Qingshan." Putting away the token, Fei Ren patted one of the silver-armored soldiers on the shoulder and smiled faintly. The next moment, his figure disappeared into the military camp. So fast. This person's cultivation base is at least at the high star realm level, as expected of Deputy Commander Chang's friend. Seeing Fei Ren's figure disappear in the blink of an eye, the two silver-armored soldiers were also amazed. After all, they were only ordinary soldiers in the middle and high star realm. Usually, they would not see martial artists at the high star realm level. In a training ground in the military camp, Chong Qingshan stood with his hands behind his back. "Brother Chong, I'm here." Suddenly, a man's faint laughter came from behind him. The next moment, Fei Ren walked over with a calm expression. 7 days ago, the other party invited him to come to the military camp in the North City District to watch the internal competition of the Steel Corps. Now that the day had arrived, he naturally would not miss the appointment. "Brother Fei Run, you're finally here." Seeing that the person who came was Fei Run, Chong Qingshan was not too surprised and also grinned. After all, the other party was invited by him. Fei Ren returned the token to Chong Qingshan and said, "Brother, you mentioned before that in addition to honing the combat power of the army, this internal competition of the Steel Corps will also elect the new 4 commanders. Is that right?" The spirit ring on Fei Ren's finger flashed as he returned the token to Chong Qingshan. "That's right. The term of the 4 great commanders of the Steel Corps is usually 5 years. After the expiration of the term, they will need to participate in the martial arts competition, and only the strong will be able to take over." Raising his hand to receive the token, Chong Qingshan laughed heartily, as if he had been waiting for this internal competition for a long time and was full of confidence. Although that's the case, that Xing Wensheng is a favorite of Commander Lu Ming. "Brother, you have to be careful." Just as the other party finished speaking, Fei Ren said again, "A small matter. As long as I can defeat him in front of my brothers, Even if the commander wants to protect him, he won't let him continue to be the fourth commander. And at that time, the second commander and the third commander will be present. If that grandson is not strong enough, even if he has the title of fourth commander, the brothers will not submit to him. Hearing this, Chang Qingshan waved his hand, indicating that it was fine. Chapter 176. Then, I wish you victory, old brother. Seeing this, Fei Run did not say anything else. After all, other than the great commander Lu Ming, he did not care about anyone else. As for the internal competition of the Iron and Steel Corps, he had only come to watch the show out of respect for Chang Qingshan. After all, other than the four great commanders, most of the soldiers of the Iron and Steel Corps were martial artists of the Middle and High Realm. In front of Fei Run, who was at the second level of the Star Realm, this level of martial arts competition was nothing to him. After more than half a month of bitter cultivation in the mountains, although Fei Rin's cultivation did not make much of a breakthrough, his actual combat strength had increased by a lot. Moreover, his flying sky and earth-burrowing great technique and spirit blade had both reached the small success stage. With all his trump cards, he was comparable to an 8th-level Star Realm martial artist. Moreover, Fei Rin still had the immortal refining divine Cauldron in his body. As his cultivation broke through to the Star Realm, he became more and more proficient in controlling the immortal refining divine Cauldron. In the past, because Fei Rin was too weak, the immortal refining divine Cauldron could only passively devour inanimate objects and energy. It could not actively kill the enemy. Now, under his control, the immortal refining divine Cauldron could actively refine and directly devour the opponent. However, compared to simply summoning the immortal refining divine Cauldron, refining the divine Cauldron to devour and kill the enemy consumed a lot of origin energy. With Fei Rin's current origin energy cultivation, using it once would consume all of his origin energy. It was a trump card, and if the opponent's cultivation was too strong, the devouring ability of the divine Cauldron would correspondingly weaken. Although the immortal refining divine Cauldron could not devour opponents that were too strong for the time being, as long as Fei Run was willing, no one below the 8th level of the Star Realm would be able to escape the devouring of the immortal refining divine Cauldron. In the end, they would only turn into a ball of pure energy essence. Thump, thump, thump. Just as Fei Run and Chang Qingshan were talking, the sound of drums could be heard from the drill ground not far away. The sound was loud, as if the martial arts competition was about to begin. Brother Fei Run, the martial arts competition is about to begin. Let's go. Hearing the sound of the drums, Chang Qingshan immediately restrained his expression. Then, he flew toward the drill ground not far away. At this moment, there were also many soldiers gathered there. For a moment, human figures were moving. Shua! Seeing that Chang Qingshan was the first to move, Fei Rin also stepped lightly on the ground and hurried to the drill ground not far away, following closely behind. Looks like it's not without reason that the Chu clan is able to sit on the throne. As soon as he arrived at the drill ground, Fei Rin's eyes were filled with people. A large number of silver-armored soldiers were standing with swords in their hands. Beside them, there were more than a dozen soldiers beating drums to liven things up. For a moment, the atmosphere was very lively. It could be seen that everyone was very excited. Obviously, they were looking forward to the internal competition of the Steel Corps. Brother Chang, I heard that you can kill during the internal competition. Fei Rin turned to look at Chang Qingshan and said, according to his limited understanding, the internal competition of the Steel Corps had always been extremely fierce. Not only could they use spiritual treasures, but there was also no precedent of stopping. As long as no one was knocked out of the ring, they would continue to fight. Even if the opponent was killed, no one would pursue the matter. Therefore, over the years, there were records of deaths and injuries within the Steel Corps. Sometimes, the casualties were not small. Although the most primitive martial arts competition was very fierce, it could train the strength and will of the soldiers to the greatest extent. Basically, Those who could survive were the elites and were powerful. Yes, as long as you are not knocked out of the ring, you have to continue to fight. Even if you are killed, you deserve it. Facing Fei Ren's question, Chang Qingshan nodded and said, "Can't I even admit defeat?" Of course not. If someone admits defeat as soon as they come up, wouldn't that break the rules? Chang Qingshan grinned. I see. Hearing this, Fei Ren was slightly surprised. He did not expect that the rules of the competition were even more cruel than he expected. There is no death. Only those who survive are elites. With a thoughtful expression, Fei Ren raised his eyes and looked at the drill ground opposite him. At this time, the first round of the competition had already begun. The opponents were two young, silver-armored soldiers. Their cultivation bases were similar, both at the 6th level of the Middle Union realm. Fei Ren was not interested in a battle of this level. He quickly glanced at it and then looked away. Then, his gaze fell on a middle-aged man in black clothes not far away. 7th level High Star Realm. Fei Ren's eyes narrowed. He sensed the extraordinary origin power fluctuation on the other party's body. His expression changed slightly. In this military camp, Middle Union realm martial artists were more common. High Star realm martial artists were very rare. Other than Chang Qingshan, who was at the 2nd level of the Star Realm, Fei Ren had not seen many High Star realm martial artists along the way. Therefore, this middle-aged man in black clothes who was at the 7th level of the Star Realm could be considered an expert with extraordinary strength. Is he also one of the 4 great commanders? Fei Ren suddenly thought of something. His expression became serious. In the Steel Corps, martial artists at the 10th level of the Middle Union realm could only be captains. Those whose origin power cultivation had reached the High Star realm could become deputy commanders. As for this middle-aged man in black clothes, he was at the 7th level of the Star Realm. Other than the 4 great commanders, no one else had such strength. The middle-aged man in black clothes seemed to have noticed Fei Ren's gaze. He nodded slightly. His expression did not change. He seemed to be a veteran expert who had experienced hundreds of battles. Brother Fei Ren, he is our 2nd commander. Not only is he incomparably powerful, he is also extremely loyal. Chang Qingshan, who was standing to one side, interrupted when he saw Fei Ren and the black-clothed middle-aged man looking at each other. His tone was filled with emotion. 2nd commander? Fei Ren withdrew his gaze. He seemed to be deep in thought. That's right. His name is Yang Qing. In his early years, he was an independent cultivator who roamed the world. Later on, he joined the Steel Corps. After many years of hard work, he finally became the 2nd commander of the Steel Corps. His strength is only second to the great commander. Chang Qingshan nodded and explained. His tone was respectful, as if the Yang Qing he mentioned was also a ruthless person. Brother, if that's the case, are you also one of Yang Qing's subordinates? Hearing this, Fei Ren asked again. Brother Fei Ren, you have guessed wrongly. I am one of the 3rd commander's subordinates. Chang Qingshan shook his head and revealed an inexplicable smile on his tanned face as he spoke. Oh, I see. Hearing this, Fei Ren's expression became awkward. He then touched his nose. The strongest people in the Steel Corps were the 4 great commanders. He already knew that the great commander Lu Ming, the 2nd commander Yang Qing, and the 4th commander Xing Wencheng, who had a conflict with him before. Only the 3rd commander was left. Seeing Chang Qingshan's reaction towards Yang Qing, Fei Ren subconsciously thought that the other party was one of Yang Qing's trusted subordinates. The 3rd commander of the Steel Corps is called Wang Xinqing. Although his strength is not as great as the great commander Lu Ming and the 2nd commander Yang Qing, he has also reached the 5th level of the Star Realm. He is not weak. The only pity is that Wang Xinqing is not a man of courage. He is also a peacemaker in the Corps. Even when he sees Xing Wencheng's subordinates being tyrannical, he does not dare to say anything. The rules of the Corps are strict. Offending one's superiors is a big taboo. Therefore, as one of Wang Xinqing's subordinates, I can only listen to him on important matters. I will try my best not to have a direct conflict with Xing Wencheng. But after this competition, That may not be the case. As long as I can defeat Xing Wenchong and become the new fourth commander, I can settle the old scores with that bastard. Clenching his teeth, Chang Qingshan clenched his fist. A trace of anger and battle intent flashed across his eyes. He seemed to be eager to seek justice for his soldiers who were bullied. Chapter 177. Boom! Just as Chang Qingshan and Fei Run were conversing, a loud noise came from the drill ground. Then, a 6th-level Middle Union Realm silver-armored soldier was sent flying out of the ring. His body landed heavily on the ground, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. It was obvious that he was defeated. "Thank you for letting me win." On the ring, a silver-armored soldier who was also at 6th-level Middle Union Realm cupped his fists and said to the defeated soldier below. His face was covered in sweat and filth. It seemed that this battle was not an easy win. It's a pity that old Liu was caught by someone in the end. Otherwise, he should have won. It's hard to say. After all, the opponent is a soldier under the second commander. Each of them has the strength to fight against 2 people. It's not an injustice to lose. If only the few of us were a little stronger, we might even be able to become a captain. Seeing this scene, some of the surrounding soldiers began to discuss spiritedly. Their voices were filled with emotions, and the tense atmosphere on the drill ground gradually heated up. After the silver-armored soldier left the ring, many soldiers went up to the ring one after another. There were wins and losses, but most of the defeated soldiers only suffered some injuries. There were no casualties. These are just small fries. The real experts have not gone up yet. Glancing at the ring not far away, Fei Ren suddenly said. He seemed to have noticed something. That's right. The next part is the main event. In the Steel Corps, strength is king. As long as you have the strength, even the former officers will become your subordinates. Glancing at Fei Ren beside him, Chang Qingshan's tone was heroic. Then, he cast his gaze back to the ring. His expression gradually became fiery. Swoosh! Just as Chang Qingshan finished speaking, a tall figure suddenly flew to the middle of the ring. 6th rank, Captain Zheng Hao. Brothers, please give me some pointers. The tall figure was a young man. He wore a silver soft armor and had an embroidered spring saber at his waist. Although his eyes were small, they were bright and full of spirit. They burned with an extraordinary fighting spirit. At the same time, he emitted a murderous aura. Obviously, he was also a veteran warrior who licked blood from his blade. It's Captain Zheng Hao. Why is he on stage? Could it be that he wants to compete for the position of deputy commander? Captain Zheng is the #1 general under the 4th commander. I don't think there are many captains in the entire army who are his match. Seeing the young man named Zheng Hao appear on the stage, the expressions of some of the silver-armored soldiers outside the arena changed slightly. Immediately, they began discussing among themselves. It seemed that Zheng Hao was a ruthless character. Even some of the old soldiers at the 9th level of the middle and high realms were looking at him with eyes filled with fear. 1st level, high star realm. No, this aura is half a step into the high star realm. Fei Ren narrowed his eyes and looked at Zheng Hao, who was on the stage not far away. He was slightly surprised. Although Zheng Hao's cultivation hadn't broken through to the 1st level of the star realm, he was no different from a real star realm warrior. If nothing unexpected happened, he would break through to the next level within 5 days. It's Zheng Hao. That guy is one of Xing Wenchong's men. He's not a good person, and he's very cunning. When I was still a lieutenant, I was tricked by this guy and almost lost my life in a demonic beast lair. As soon as Fei Ren finished speaking, Chang Qingshan, who was at the side, also spoke. His eyes were serious. It was obvious that he had a lot of grudges with Zheng Hao. Brother Chang, are you going to teach this guy a lesson? Seeing Chang Qingshan's reaction, Fei Ren asked again. Since the other party had a grudge with Zheng Hao, it was a good opportunity to take revenge since the Steel Corps' internal competition was taking place. He's just Xing Wenchong's lackey. He's too weak to be my opponent. Chang Qingshan shook his head and rejected Fei Ren's reminder. He seemed to be disdainful of fighting with Zheng Hao, and his face was full of mockery. Well said. As expected of Big Brother, you're bold. As soon as Chang Shan finished speaking, a hearty male laughter suddenly came from behind him. In the next moment, a red-haired young man in black armor stepped forward. His pale face was full of smiles. Although he was young, his tone was quite mature. Tianyun, why are you back? Hearing the voice, Chang Shan turned around. Seeing that it was a red-haired young man in black armor, Chang Shan was also stunned. Then, he suddenly became overjoyed. Big Brother, today is the day of the internal competition of the Steel Corps. How can I not rush back? Moreover, didn't you and I agree that Big Brother will personally defeat Xing Wenchong and become one of the 4 great commanders, and I will also become the deputy commander of the Corps? Looking at Chang Shan's happy face, the red-haired young man also grinned. Then, he looked at Fei Run beside him and said in a soft tone, "May I ask who this little brother is?" Fei Ren. In the face of the red-haired young man's probing, Fei Ren slightly nodded with a calm face. I'm Chang Tianyun. Hearing this, the red-haired young man named Chang Tianyun also cupped his hands and said, Tianyun, don't underestimate Brother Fei Run. His strength is far greater than mine. At this moment, Chang Shan also laughed. Hearing Chang Shan's evaluation of Fei Run, Chang Tianyun's expression froze. Although he was very close to Fei Run, he couldn't sense how powerful Fei Ren's aura was. It was as if he was no different from an ordinary martial artist of the middle and high level. This kid is called Chang Tianyun. He's my younger brother. His strength is just SOSO. Brother Fei Run, please don't take offense. Withdrawing his gaze, Chang Shan explained cheerfully. Brother Chang is modest. Brother Tianyun has a high aura and has been on the battlefield for a long time. Although his cultivation hasn't broken through to the high-star realm, he is indeed a fierce general for the Steel Corps. As soon as he finished speaking, Fei Ren also grinned. At the same time, he released a wave of high-star realm aura. There were 2 reasons why his opponent couldn't see through his cultivation. First, he had deliberately suppressed his aura. Second, the gap between their cultivation levels was too large. Currently, cultivators below the 6th level of the Star Realm couldn't see through his cultivation level. If he hadn't seen Fei Ren's strength in the ancient ruins in the northern Desolate County, even Chang Shan wouldn't have believed that Fei Ren, who was only 17 or 18 years old, could be so terrifying, let alone Chang Tianyun, High Star Realm 2nd level. Sensing Fei Ren's extraordinary aura, Chang Tianyun's expression instantly froze. Then, he cupped his hands again and said, Brother Fei, please forgive me for my previous offense. It's fine. Slowly withdrawing his aura, Fei Ren smiled again. Sometimes, one couldn't show off one's strength too much. It was enough to let the other party know that one was strong enough. He was very clear about this principle. By the way, Tianyun, your cultivation? Chang Shan seemed to have thought of something and asked again. A small breakthrough, but I have to deal with this somehow first. Then, I'll defeat the other captains and become the deputy commander of the Corps. Chang Tianyun grinned and nodded in response to Chang Shan's question. After returning from this trip, his origin power cultivation had reached half a step into the High Star Realm. He was only 1 step away from the High Star Realm. His goal was to become the deputy commander. As for how to become the deputy commander of the Steel Corps, it was very simple. That was to defeat the other captains and enter the top 10 at the same time. In the Iron Steel Corps, although a captain was only a 6th grade official position, there were still more than 30 of them. It wasn't easy to get into the top 10. Furthermore, those who could become captains were generally at the 10th stage of the Middle Union realm, or even veteran martial artists who were half a step into the High Star realm. As for deputy commanders, they were very rare. Usually, there were only 7 or 8 of them, second only to the 4 commanders. Every one of them was a High Star realm martial artist, such as Chang Shan, who had just reached the High Star realm not long ago. Good boy, you're ambitious. You didn't forget the promise you made with your big brother. Seeing Chang Tianyun's imposing manner, Chang Shan laughed heartily. He was obviously in a good mood. Chapter 178. Bang! On the drill ground, a bald man was sent flying out of the ring. Even the armor on his chest was shattered. He spat out blood, and his face was pale. Sing Hao, you've become stronger again. The bald man struggled to get up. He looked at Sung Hao, who was not far away. His voice was filled with shock. He was also a rank 6 lieutenant in the Steel Corps. However, he was still no match for Sung Hao. He was defeated in less than 20 rounds. Anyone else? Glancing at the bald man who was heavily injured, Sung Hao's expression was indifferent. Although the other party was also a lieutenant general like him, he was at the bottom of the hierarchy and did not have much strength. He was only slightly stronger than an ordinary soldier. Naturally, Sung Hao would not take him seriously. Captain Sung Hao is so powerful. This is already the 4th round. He has defeated 4 generals of the same rank. With Captain Sung Hao's strength, it is certain that he will become the deputy commander. Yeah, and it seems that Captain Sung Hao has not used his full strength yet. While Fei Run and Chang Qingshan were chatting, Sung Hao was also in high spirits on the drill ground. He had defeated several warriors of the same level, and all of them were captains. He was not in the limelight for a while, and he had attracted a lot of attention. This guy is as arrogant as ever. I'll go and meet him. At the edge of the crowd, Chang Tianyun, who had witnessed Sung Hao's 4 consecutive victories, spat and jumped out. Tianyun, don't let your guard down. Seeing Chang Tianyun rush out, Chang Qingshan warned him. After all, his opponent was the strongest general under the 4th commander, Xing Wenchong. His strength was quite famous, even in the Steel Corps. Otherwise, he would not have been able to defeat so many generals of the same ranks so easily. Swoosh! Chang Tianyun's figure streaked across the sky and landed firmly on the drill ground. His red hair fluttered in the wind. It's you. Seeing that it was Chang Tianyun, Sung Hao narrowed his eyes and sneered. I was wondering where you went these days. So you had a breakthrough in your cultivation. Not only was the opponent Chang Qingshan's younger brother, but he was also one of his old rivals. They had always been at odds with each other in the Steel Corps. It's me. Sung Hao, you will definitely lose this battle. Chang Tianyun grinned and spoke boldly. At the same time, his eyes were filled with boundless fighting spirit. It was as if he didn't take Sung Hao seriously at all. What arrogance! Hearing this, Sung Hao laughed instead of getting angry. In the next moment, he raised his hand and grabbed at Chang Tianyun. Surging origin power gushed out of his palm and condensed into the shadow of a black eagle. His attack was extremely fast. It seemed to be an extraordinary martial art. Break! Chang Tianyun's gaze turned solemn when he saw Sung Hao flying towards him. He similarly clenched his fists and punched forward. A large amount of origin energy swept out, instantly shattering the Black Hawk's shadow. Sung Hao's figure also borrowed the recoil force to slowly land behind him. It seemed like he did not suffer any injuries. This brat's strength has also broken through to the half-step high-star realm. Thinking to himself, Sung Hao's face gradually turned serious. Chang Tianyun was different from the other captains. He was not easy to deal with. Even among the captains of the Steel Corps, he could be considered as one of the upper echelons. Is this all you've got? After defeating Sung Hao with one move, Chang Tianyun's aura became even stronger. Strands of origin power gushed out of his body again. It seemed like he was getting more and more courageous as he fought. Black Hawk attack. Facing Chang Tianyun's powerful attack, Sung Hao's face turned gloomy. His body then shot out again. He raised his hand and clawed at Chang Tianyun's head. Surging origin power condensed between his fingers. Black shadows twined around his hands. His hands were like the sharp claws of a demonic beast. His attack was so fast that it was hard to dodge. Rank 3 martial art. Outside the arena, Fei Ren and Chang Qingshan said in unison. Their expressions were different. Similar to Chang Tianyun, Sung Hao's origin power cultivation was also half-step high-star realm. Moreover, their strengths were similar. It would not be easy to determine the winner in a short time. However, Sung Hao had used a rank 3 martial art right from the start. It was obvious that he wanted to end the battle quickly. Good timing. Immovable mountain. Seeing Sung Hao use his full strength, Chang Tianyun also let out a long roar. At the same time, he stomped his feet heavily on the ground. An extremely thick, earthy yellow origin power gushed out of his dantian and instantly wrapped around his body. It was like an ancient bell that was as solid as a rock. It was obvious that he wanted to take the attack head-on. "You're courting death." With a crazed look in his eyes, Sung Hao saw that Chang Tianyun was planning to receive his full-force attack head-on. His expression also turned fierce. More origin energy surged out from his palms, and at the same time, he increased the power of his Black Eagle strike by several times. The Steel Core's internal competition did not have a rule of stopping. Other than being sent flying out of the arena, the only other way was to fight until the end. However, Sung Hao was very decisive this time. Defeating Chang Tianyun was not his ultimate goal. Only by killing Chang Tianyun could he prevent future troubles, so that he would have one less strong competitor. Bang! Rumble! Under everyone's watchful eyes, Sung Hao's claws landed heavily on Chang Tianyun's chest. Chang Tianyun's protective elemental energy was instantly broken. The black armor on Chang Tianyun's body was also completely shattered by this powerful attack. A large amount of elemental energy instantly exploded, creating a deafening explosion. Who won? Captain Sung Hao or Captain Chang Tianyun? The two of them are indeed the top captains of the Steel Corps. This level of battle is probably not inferior to the deputy commanders. A large amount of origin power, residual power, gradually dissipated. At this time, many soldiers who were watching the battle outside the arena were looking at each other in shock. They seemed to be shocked by the battle between Sung Hao and Chang Tianyun. Compared to the battle between the two, the previous competition was simply child's play. Tianyun. Suddenly, Chang Qingshan clenched his fists with a serious expression. Although he was very confident in Chang Tianyun's strength, Sung Hao was Xing Wenchong's #1 general after all. Moreover, his strength was not much weaker than a true first-level Star Realm expert. Although Chang Tianyun's strength had a small breakthrough after returning from this training, he did not dare to say that he would win for sure. Chang Tianyun won. This guy, we all underestimated him. On the side, Fei Run was stunned for a moment. Then, he grinned and said, "What?" Seeing this scene, Chang Qingshan was also puzzled. However, before he could react, another loud bang came from the arena. In the next moment, Sung Hao's body flew back and fell outside the arena. "Sung Hao, you lost." After the dust settled, Chang Tianyun's figure slowly appeared. Although his face was a little pale, he was still standing on the arena. However, it seemed that he had used too much origin power in this battle. At this moment, he was panting heavily. "You? How could you?" "Pucci." His face was filled with shock and anger. In the next moment, Sung Hao spat out a mouthful of thick blood. His aura immediately became extremely weak. Not only did he lose this battle, but he was also heavily injured. He had completely lost the chance to compete for the position of deputy commander. This also meant that all his efforts in the past 5 years had been in vain. Chang Tianyun might be promoted to the new deputy commander. Thinking of this, Sung Hao was furious. He spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood. Then, he fell to the ground and fainted. Good job. Seeing that Chang Tianyun had won, Chang Qingshan also clenched his fists. His face was filled with joy. Sung Hao's strength was enough to squeeze into the top 10 captains of the Steel Corps. Since Chang Tianyun could defeat him, it meant that his strength was enough to be one of the top 10 captains. If there were no accidents, he would definitely be promoted to the deputy commander. The deputy commander of the Steel Corps was a 5th grade official position, which was 1 grade higher than a 6th grade lieutenant. Regardless of salary or rank, they cannot be compared. Seeing Chang Tianyun's meteoric rise, Chang Qingshan was naturally very happy as his elder brother. Chapter 179. drill ground outside the arena. Chang Tianyin has become much stronger. He can even defeat Sung Hao. Yang Qing stood with his hands behind his back. As he saw Chang Tianyin defeat Sung Hao, he revealed a look of astonishment. Although he wasn't very familiar with the Chang brothers, he still had a good understanding of them. Naturally, he was very clear about the Chang brothers and the fourth commander, Xing Wenchong, who were like fire and water. However, Xing Wenchong was the trusted subordinate of Lu Ming. Although Yang Qing wanted a rope in the Chang brothers, he couldn't go against Lu Ming openly. All along, he had been mediating the conflict between the Chang brothers and Xing Wenchong. However, after this battle, Yang Qing finally saw the talent and strength of the Chang brothers. Hence, he wanted to rope them in even more secretly. If the two of them could be used by me, I might be able to overthrow Lu Ming in the future and become the commander of the army. As he thought till here, Yang Qing's gaze flashed. A tinge of ambition could be seen in his eyes. However, it disappeared in the next moment and wasn't noticed by the soldiers around him. Evidently, he was also a shrewd person. Within the Steel Corps, the four great commanders were the highest-ranking generals. Other than Emperor Chu Tianyang, they were not under the jurisdiction of anyone else, not even the imperial court. However, within the four great commanders, only the chief commander had the greatest power. Moreover, he could cover the sky with one hand, and the treatment he enjoyed was even incomparable to the Chu clan's imperial family members. Therefore, becoming the commander of the Steel Army was also Yang Qing's wish. For this goal, he cultivated for many years and was willing to become Lu Ming's subordinate, following his lead. Right now, Yang Qing's cultivation had reached the 7th level of the Star Realm, which was enough to crush the 3rd commander Wang Xinqing and the 4th commander Xing Wenchong. However, he was still no match for the Grand Commander Lu Ming, who had gradually become Yang Qing's inner demon. Lu Ming, I will defeat you one day and become the new commander. The clenched fists under his sleeves gradually loosened. Yang Qing's expression was still calm, but he was roaring in his heart. As the Grand Commander, Lu Ming did not appear in the internal competition of the Steel Corps. After all, no one in the Steel Corps was a match for him, and no one dared to challenge Lu Ming. It was undoubtedly courting death. Yang Qing was used to Lu Ming's elusive nature. Yang Qing did not pay much attention to the fact that the other party did not appear on the drill ground. Now, he only wanted to recruit the Chang brothers to his side so that he could accumulate strength to contend against Lu Ming in the future. After Chang Tianyin defeated Sung Hao, many other captains went up the stage to fight. Among them, except for a 6th-rank captain who was very unlucky and had one of his arms chopped off, most of them were wounded. There were no casualties. After all, they were all soldiers or generals of the same division. Unless it was a feud like the Chang brothers and Xing Wenchong, they would usually not choose to kill. At most, they would cripple their arms or legs or leave with heavy injuries. It was rare for them to be killed on the spot. Big brother, little brother did not fail you. With a leap, Chang Tianyin arrived in front of Chang Qingshan. After that, he clasped his hands together and revealed a smile. After defeating Sung Hao, his reputation within the division increased by a lot. Furthermore, he managed to enter the top 10 captains. It was basically confirmed that he could be promoted to the new deputy commander. The only thing he needed to do now was to wait for the conferment from the imperial court. Chang Tianyin, after this battle, you will be the vice commander of the corps. You must treat me to a good drink when you get promoted and get rich. Chang Qingshan laughed and patted Chang Tianyin's shoulder. He was obviously in a good mood. Congratulations, brother Tianyin. Seeing that Chang Tianyin got off to a good start, Farron also clasped his hands together and smiled faintly. You flatter me. I have only just climbed to the position of big brother. Compared to you and brother Fei, I am still very inexperienced. Facing Fei Ren's praise, Chang Tianyin was very humble. He coughed dryly and said, just as the Chang brothers and Fei Ren were talking and laughing, in the crowd not far away, Xing Wenchong's face was as red as a pig's liver. His expression was extremely gloomy. In front of him was the unconscious Sung Hao, who was lying on the ground with heavy injuries. The moment Sung Hao was defeated, his subordinates carried him back. However, due to his heavy injuries, he would not be able to wake up in a short period of time. Commander, Captain Sung Hao lost. Beside him, a silver-armored soldier stepped forward and looked at Xing Wenchong, who had an ugly expression. His tone was weak, as if he wanted to say something. This silver-armored soldier knew a thing or two about the feud between the Chong brothers and Xing Wenchong. He was not a fool. Sung Hao was the strongest general under Xing Wenchong. Not only did he lose terribly in this battle, but he also lost to Chong Tianyan. Naturally, he was humiliated. Carry him away. Looking at the dying Sung Hao on the ground, Xing Wenchong's face was as gloomy as stagnant water. Yes. Hearing the order, the silver-armored soldier also called a few of his companions. Then, they carried Sung Hao away in a panic, as if they were afraid that Xing Wenchong would get angry again. They did not dare to stay here for even a moment. Chong Qingshan, I will definitely tear you into pieces. His gaze once again looked at the crowd, not far away. Finally, it slowly fell on Chong Qingshan. Xing Wenchong's eyes were filled with killing intent. Sung Hao was defeated by Chong Tianyan. Not only did it make him lose face, but it was also equivalent to him losing his right-hand man. Now that Sung Hao was seriously injured, let alone competing for the position of deputy commander, he might not even be able to keep his position as a 6th-grade lieutenant. The tradition of the Steel Corps was that the strong would rise to the top. If Sung Hao was defeated, Xing Wenchong's wings would be greatly reduced. In the future, it would be even more difficult for him to compete with the other commanders, and even with Chong Qingshan as his opponent. The situation would be even more disadvantageous. This grandson looks like he wants to do it himself. Sensing the murderous intent in Xing Wenchong's eyes, Chong Qingshan's expression became firm as he snorted coldly. Brother Chong, are you going to do it? Fei Run, who was beside him, spoke again. Chong Qingshan's origin power cultivation had broken through to the 2nd level of the Star Realm, and his strength had increased greatly. If he wanted to become one of the 4 commanders of the Steel Corps, he had to defeat Xing Wenchong. Otherwise, there was no other way. After all, among the 4 commanders, Xing Wenchong's strength was the weakest. He had basically gotten his position by consuming pills. As for the other 3 commanders, their strength was not bad. Chong Qingshan's current strength was not enough to compete with them. Therefore, he had no other choice. That's right. I must defeat this grandson and become the new 4th commander. Glancing at Fei Run, Chong Qingshan nodded slightly. In the next moment, he leaped toward the arena not far away. Big brother, do your best. Seeing Chong Qingshan enter the arena, Chong Tianyan also shouted excitedly. His eyes were filled with excitement. Look, Deputy Commander Chong is entering the arena. Deputy Commander Chong Qingshan is a high-star realm martial artist. Moreover, I heard that he has broken through to the 2nd level of the Star Realm recently. His strength has increased greatly. 2nd level of the Star Realm. With such a cultivation and strength, he should not be any weaker than Commander Xing of the 4 commanders. At this moment, seeing Chong Qingshan enter the arena, the surrounding silver-armored soldiers who were watching the battle began to discuss animatedly. Their expressions were filled with surprise. For a moment, the atmosphere became heated. Chapter 180. Xing Wenchong, are you still not going to make a move? Chong Qingshan stood straight like a sharp sword. The next moment, he looked up at Xing Wenchong in the crowd and shouted coldly. Chong, don't be too proud. Xing Wenchong snorted coldly. Seeing Chong Qingshan looking at him, he jumped to the center of the arena with a gloomy face. Damn you, even if Yang Qing is protecting you, I'll kill you later. Xing Wenchong's murderous intent intensified as he thought this. The other party wanted to defeat him and become the new great commander. Their goal was very obvious. However, as one of the great commanders, even if he was the weakest one, if he was defeated by his own subordinates, it would undoubtedly be a great humiliation. They're about to fight. Vice Commander Chong and Commander Xing. Both of them are genuine high-star realm martial artists. This battle is going to be intense. Although Vice Commander Chang has made a breakthrough, Commander Xing is still at the 3rd level of the Star Realm. It's hard to say who will win this battle. Around the arena, the silver-armored soldiers and lieutenants who were watching the battle were all moved. They started to discuss the battle. Even the 2nd Commander Yang Qing and the 3rd Commander Wang Xinqing were no exception. They looked towards the arena with different expressions. Chang Qingshan was one of the vice commanders of the Steel Corps. His rank was only below the 4 commanders. His strength had increased greatly, reaching the 2nd level of the Star Realm. On the other hand, Xing Wenchong was one of the 4 commanders. His cultivation was also at the 3rd level of the Star Realm. This battle was going to be very exciting. A white light flashed from the spirit ring on Xing Wenchong's finger. In the next moment, Xing Wenchong took out a sharp black saber. There were rows of nicks on the blade. Obviously, it was also a spirit treasure of good quality. If a warrior of the High Star Realm was hit by it, their skin and flesh would be torn apart. Chang Qingshan, if you obediently kneel down and kowtow to me, I can spare your worthless life. I will only cripple your 4 limbs and Dantian. Xing Wenchong smiled coldly. A trace of treachery and mockery appeared on his sinister face. In your dreams, Chang Qingshan's eyes were cold. His opponent wanted to kill him, and so did he. You're courting death. As soon as he finished speaking, Xing Wenchong also saw an opportunity and immediately rushed out. The black saber in his hand swung left and right and directly slashed toward Chang Qingshan's abdomen. Rolling Yuan power wrapped around the edge of the saber and instantly burst out countless piercingly cold saber chi. For a moment, the power was difficult to block. Earthen wall. Chang Qingshan's eyes turned cold when he saw his opponent charging at him. He circulated a large amount of origin energy as well. In the next moment, a thick origin energy wall was formed several meters around him. TSK. Rumble. A large amount of saber chi slashed at the origin power wall and were all annihilated in the end. However, the black saber in Xing Wenchong's hand did not diminish in the slightest. It actually slashed diagonally upwards and forcibly broke the origin power wall in front of him, instantly splitting it into 2. Die. In the blink of an eye, Xing Wenchong arrived in front of Chang Qingshan. Then he flicked his wrist and slashed out again. What a fast attack! Chang Qingshan's eyes narrowed slightly. Although Xing Wenchong's strength was inferior to the other 3 commanders, his agility was not the least bit inferior. Within a breath's time, Xing Wenchong had broken through the Yuan power wall and charged towards Chang Qingshan. Clang! Clang! In the blink of an eye, Chang Qingshan also drew out a sharp saber from his waist. Although its quality was not as good as Xing Wenchong's black saber, it could still be considered a Tier 2 spirit treasure. It actually managed to block Xing Wenchong's attack. In the arena, Chang Qingshan held his saber horizontally in front of him, barely blocking Xing Wenchong's attack. Moreover, both of them maintained their postures without moving, as if they were in a delicate balance. Evenly matched? Outside the arena, many silver-armored soldiers and captains had different expressions. As for Fei Run, who was watching from the edge of the crowd, his expression was calm, as if he had already expected this. In his opinion, although Xing Wenchong's origin energy cultivation was 1 level higher, it would not be easy for him to win against Chang Qingshan. Previously, in the ancient tomb of the Northern Wilderness County, Xing Wenchong had obtained many opportunities, and his strength was no longer the same as before. How is this possible? This guy did not use his full strength just now. Xing Wenchong's face was flushed red, and his eyes were filled with shock. No matter how he circulated his origin energy, the black saber in his hand could not move, as if it was restrained by an even stronger force. Break! With another roar, Chang Qingshan turned the tip of his saber, and at the same time, he raised his hand and blasted out a stream of origin energy. Instantly, Xing Wenchong was pushed back dozens of steps, as if the previous exchange was just a warm-up and he had not used his full strength yet. I've said that you will definitely lose today. After forcing Xing Wenchong to retreat with one move. Chang Qingshan slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Then he stabbed the saber in his hand into the ground, and the battle intent in his eyes became more and more intense. The weapon in his hand was only the standard weapon of the Steel Corps, and basically every captain-level general had one. It was not a superior spirit treasure, and the reason why he could easily block Xing Wenchong's attack was because of his own strength. Arrogant guy, die. Seeing Chang Qingshan voluntarily put down his weapon, Xing Wenchong also let out a long roar. His face was crazily distorted, as if he had been greatly humiliated. The next moment, he waved his black saber again, and at the same time, circulated all the origin energy in his body, and attacked Chang Qingshan like a sharp arrow. 3 purity slash. With a roar of rage, Xing Wenchong's attacks instantly changed. His silhouette actually split into 3 and attacked Chang Qingshan's vital points. Each of his silhouettes was like his original body, and their origin energy fluctuations weren't weak at all. The 3 purity slash was Xing Wenchong's best martial art, and at the same time, it was also a powerful rank 3 martial art, and could be called his trump card. 3 purity slash. I did not expect Chang Qingshan to be able to force Xing Wenchong to use his trump card. Outside the arena, Wang Xinqing was shocked. His opponent was his deputy commander, and he naturally knew Chang Qingshan's strength. If it was in the past, Chang Qingshan would not be able to force Xing Wenchong to use all his trump cards. It seems that he obtained a lot of opportunities in the Northern Wilderness County. Thinking of this, Wang Xinqing's face was filled with mixed feelings, and no one knew what he was thinking. Back then, when Chang Qingshan and Xing Wenchong were like fire and water, he was only a peacemaker. Furthermore, he was mostly on Xing Wenchong's side, and was not as shrewd as Yang Qing, who was able to take advantage of both sides. Therefore, although Chang Qingshan was a subordinate in name, he did not have any sense of belonging to him. Furthermore, in the entire Steel Army, other than the elusive Lu Ming and the second commander Yang Qing, Chang Qingshan did not place anyone else in his eyes. Mount Tai's embrace of the moon. On the arena, facing Xing Wenchong's strongest attack, Chang Qingshan was still fearless. At the same time, he opened his arms wide, and an extremely powerful origin energy burst out. Rumble. The 3 figures that Xing Wenchong had transformed into fiercely charged towards Chang Qingshan, who was in the center of the stage. Then 2 huge waves of elemental energy instantly exploded, accompanied by a deafening boom. Xing Wenchong and Chang Qingshan's figures were also submerged in the thick dust. So this is a commander-level battle. I did not expect the gap between me and the Chang brothers to be so big. Outside the arena, Tseng Hao, who had just woken up, was also in a daze. Following that, a bitter smile appeared on his face, and he no longer had the aura from before. His eyes were filled with disappointment, as if the pride in his heart had gradually disappeared after being defeated by Chang Tianyan. Chapter 181. Captain, although most of the silver-armored soldiers were attracted by the fierce battle on the arena, there were still a few people who noticed Tseng Hao's reaction. They were all soldiers under Tseng Hao's command and naturally knew that he was in a bad mood. I'm fine. All of you can go back, facing the concern of his subordinates. Tseng Hao's face was weak as he turned around to leave. He felt that there was no need to continue watching this battle. He had a feeling that Chang Qingshan would have a last laugh. Previously, Chang Qingshan was able to force Xing Wenchong to use his trump card without using his full strength. Now that both parties had used their full strength, the outcome of this battle was obvious. Who won? At this moment, looking at the dust-filled stage, the spectators had different expressions. The atmosphere was in a deadlock. Boom! Swish, swish. Suddenly, a series of tremors came from the arena. In the next moment, a figure in a sorry state flew back. Then, he staggered and knelt on one knee. His face was extremely pale. It was the 4th commander, Xing Wenchong. Commander Xing was defeated. Seeing this scene, the spectators were astonished and exclaimed. At this moment, Xing Wenchong's injuries were not serious, but they were not light either. The armor on the left side of his chest had been completely shattered, revealing his body that was riddled with injuries. His flesh and bones could be seen clearly. Furthermore, the powerful elemental energy ripples on his body had decreased by a lot. He was not even a tenth of his original strength. Xing Wenchong, you have lost. The dust gradually dispersed. In the next moment, Chang Qingshan's figure slowly appeared. Although he was also in a sorry state and had suffered some injuries, he was much better off than Xing Wenchong. He had not reached the point of exhaustion. Damn it! How did this bastard become so strong? Facing the provocation of being mocked and defeated, Xing Wenchong was enraged. Instantly, it affected the injuries on his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face became even paler. Seems like the outcome has been decided. Outside the stage, Yang Qing's gaze flickered. Compared to Xing Wenchong, Yang Qing hoped that Chang Qingshan would win from the start. This way, not only would he be able to suppress Lu Ming's power, but once Chang Qingshan became the new fourth commander of the army, he would have more power to contend against Lu Ming in the future. Vice Commander Chang actually won. Now that Commander Xing has been defeated, according to the rules of the army, Vice Commander Chang can be promoted to one of the 4 commanders. Finally, we don't have to be bullied anymore. Outside the arena, several silver-armored soldiers under Chang Qingshan's command also exclaimed. They were overjoyed. After all, after Chang Qingshan became one of the 4 commanders, most of these soldiers would be promoted at least by 1 rank. Naturally, they were overjoyed. Big Brother really did it. Just like Chang Qingshan's subordinates, Chang Tianyin was overjoyed as he laughed heartily. At the same time, in the ring, Shua, Chang Qingshan suddenly leaped in front of Xing Wenchong and looked down at him with a serious expression. You with the surname Chang, I've already lost. Do you still want to fight? Seeing that Chang Qingshan had suddenly appeared in front of him, Xing Wenchong's expression changed slightly. Currently, there was less than a tenth of the origin power in his body left. Moreover, his injuries were not light, and his combat power was far from before. Not to mention that Chang Qingshan was a level 2-star realm martial artist. Even a level 7 or 8 middle union stage martial artist could easily defeat him. Therefore, Xing Wenchong naturally felt uneasy. Moreover, Chang Qingshan was still holding back. He knew very well that he was no match for Chang Qingshan. When did I say that I would let you go? With a cold smile, Chang Qingshan reached out his hand and immediately grabbed Xing Wenchong's neck. Then, he lifted him into the air. In the face of Chang Qingshan's violent attack, Xing Wenchong continued to struggle. His face was flushed red, but he was unable to break free from the other party's grip. He was like a little chick caught by an eagle, wasting his energy. Chang Qingshan, I'll definitely kill you. Being humiliated by Chang Qingshan in front of so many people, Xing Wenchong was extremely angry. The veins on his forehead bulged. He immediately ignored the serious injuries all over his body and channeled the last bit of origin power in his body. He lifted his leg and kicked at his opponent's stomach. Boom! Chang Qingshan blocked the attack with his left hand. His expression became colder and colder as he said, Back then, you abused my soldiers many times. Perhaps they were useless trash to you, but to me, they were my brothers. Die! Chang Qingshan shouted. His left palm condensed a huge wave of origin power. Evidently, he was going to give his opponent a final blow. Not good. Qingshan stopped. Seeing that Chang Qingshan was going to kill him, Wang Xinqing and Yang Qing's faces changed. Although Xing Wenchong's life and death were not related to them, he was still a favorite of Lu Ming. Furthermore, Xing Wenchong was one of the 4 great commanders. Losing in a duel would only cause him to lose face. However, if he was killed by Chang Qingshan in front of so many people, it would definitely cause a commotion in the Steel Army. Bang! Boom, boom, boom. In a breath's time, just as Chang Qingshan was about to kill Xing Wenchong, Yang Qing rushed over. At the same time, he blocked Xing Wenchong's fatal blow. The 2 strong waves of origin power collided and exploded. Even though his life was saved, Xing Wenchong was not so lucky. Under the impact of the powerful Yuan power fluctuation, his entire body actually fainted on the spot. Blood flowed out from his 7 orifices, and even the foundation of his dantian was damaged quite a bit. As everyone knew, the elixir field was one of the lifelines of a martial artist. If the elixir field foundation was damaged, it would be difficult for one's cultivation to break through in the future. After this battle, Xing Wenchong was almost half crippled. "Commander Yang, why are you stopping me?" At this moment, seeing that his opponent had blocked his attack, Chong Qingshan's gaze flashed. There was indignance and anger. This battle was the best time for him to kill Xing Wenchong. Otherwise, when Xing Wenchong recovered from his injuries and had the support of Grand Commander Lu Ming, he would not have any chance to kill him. Now that he was stopped by Yang Qing, Chong Qingshan could not remain calm. "Qingshan, it's enough. As the newly promoted 4th commander, you have to consider the big picture. After all, he is a subordinate of the great commander." Looking at the furious Chong Qingshan, Yang Qing's expression was also serious. Then he sighed. After this battle, Chong Qingshan's promotion to the 4th commander was already set in stone, whereas Xing Wenchong was beaten half to death in front of everyone. Even his elixir field foundation was damaged. He had completely lost the qualifications to be one of the 4th commander. Naturally, he was no longer a threat. "Yes, sir." Glancing at the unconscious Xing Wenchong, Chong Qingshan snorted coldly. Then he turned around and left. Although he did not kill Xing Wenchong personally, Xing Wenchong's elixir field foundation was damaged. His strength was not as strong as before. He was completely reduced to half a cripple. Chong Qingshan had achieved his goal. Furthermore, Yang Qing's words were not without reason. Chong Qingshan was also very clear in his heart. He could only leave immediately. "Old Yang, this guy's really a ruthless person. When he was under me, I misjudged him." After Chong Qingshan left, Wang Xinqing also arrived late. He landed beside Yang Qing. At the same time, he waved his hand and signaled a few silver-armored soldiers to carry the unconscious Xing Wenchong away for treatment. His face was filled with shock. "You didn't just misjudge him. If you give him enough time to grow, he will not be weaker than you or me." Glancing at Wang Xinqing beside him, Yang Qing's mouth twitched. He revealed a strange smile, and his tone was also a little profound. Chapter 182. That's true. He only went to the northern desolate county once, and his strength increased by quite a bit. Faced with Yang Qing's judgment, Wang Xinqing did not deny it. Opportunity and luck are also part of one's strength. Yang Qing nodded and said again. Chong Qingshan was only at the 2nd level of the Star Realm, yet he was able to defeat Xing Wenchong, who was at the 3rd level of the Star Realm. This was truly shocking. Chong Qingshan would never believe that he hadn't obtained some sort of fortuitous encounter. When the ancient tomb appeared in the northern desolate county, if the two of us weren't late, we would probably be able to get a share of the loot. Wang Xinqing licked his lips, and a hint of regret appeared on his sallow face. "Let's go. There's no point in talking too much." As he finished speaking, Yang Qing patted Wang Xinqing's shoulder. After that, he dashed towards the Chong brothers not too far away. "Qingshan." Yang Qing clasped his hands as he arrived in front of the Chong brothers and said, "You defeated Xing Wenchong this time. According to the rules of the army, the new 4th commander's position is yours. Congratulations, Brother Yang. Thank you for taking care of me before. You're too courteous." Chong Qingshan wasn't surprised to see that it was Yang Qing. He immediately nodded and took out a recovery pill from his spirit ring and swallowed it. The intense battle with Xing Wenchong had consumed a lot of his origin power. Moreover, Xing Wenchong's strength wasn't considered strong among cultivators of the same level. If it had been any other 3rd-level Star Realm cultivator, he probably wouldn't have won so easily. This is... Yang Qing's gaze suddenly fell on Fei Run, and he was puzzled. Fei Rin's aura was restrained and unpredictable. Although he was also a cultivator, even a 7th-level Star Realm cultivator like him couldn't fathom his aura. It was very strange. "Commander Yang, this is a friend of my big brother's." In response to Yang Qing's question, Chang Tianyin also stepped forward to explain. His tone could not help but reveal a trace of respect. Even though he had not known Fei Ringang for long, he was already convinced by Fei Ringang's strength. After all, Fei Rin was only 17 or 18 years old, and his origin power cultivation had already reached the second level of the Star Realm. His strength was also far superior to other cultivators of the same level. With such talent and strength, he was comparable to the young geniuses of the 3 and 9 ranks of the great families, and even the Chu clan. Commander Yang Qing, I am Fei Rin. I have heard a lot about you. I've heard of your name, Fei Rin said Yang Qing's voice. Although Yang Qing and the rest were no match for him, Fei Rin still had to be courteous. After all, the tallest tree in the forest would be destroyed by the wind. Fei Rin had always kept a low profile. Fei Rin's cultivation is also at the high level of the Star Realm. Although he wasn't sure of Fei Rin's exact strength, he had a feeling that his origin power cultivation wasn't weaker than the high level of the Star Realm. I'm just lucky to have a breakthrough. Fei Rin grinned and didn't refute. As expected, with your talent and strength, even the disciples of the sects and clans outside the Imperial City may not be comparable to you. Seeing Fei Rin's silent agreement, Yang Qing laughed and said immediately, Old Yang, your evaluation of this kid is too exaggerated. I don't think so. At this moment, a loud male voice came from behind. Then, Wang Xinqing walked over with a doubtful look on his sallow face. He clearly didn't approve of Fei Rin's strength. Wang Xinqing, what do you mean? Seeing Wang Xinqing's doubtful voice, Chang Tianyin was also displeased and stepped forward. Tianyin, don't be rude. After glaring at the aggressive Chang Tianyin, Chang Qingshan stepped forward in the next moment. At the same time, he cupped his fists at Wang Xinqing and said, Commander Wang, my younger brother is impulsive. Although he was now the new 4th commander after this battle, the Imperial Court had yet to announce the conferment. Moreover, Wang Xinqing was his former superior and was stronger than him. Chang Qingshan naturally did not want to take the initiative to anger Wang Xinqing to avoid unnecessary trouble. Little brats don't know any better. I don't mind. Glancing at Chang Tianyin, Wang Xinqing smiled coldly and crossed his arms. Moreover, my words aren't baseless. Although old Yang has a high opinion of this kid, seeing is believing. We'll only know if he has the strength after we fight. Tisk. Facing Wang Xinqing's indirect criticism, Chang Tianyin was displeased, but he didn't dare to say anything. After all, Wang Xinqing was a high-level 5-star realm cultivator, and he wasn't his match at all. The difference in strength was too great, and he couldn't even block a single attack. You. Hearing this, Chang Qingshan frowned. Wang Xinqing had always been Lu Ming's lackey. Now that he had crippled Xing Wenchong, it was obvious that Wang Xinqing was here to cause trouble. As for attacking Fei Rin, he had other intentions. He wanted to kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Old Wang, you're the 3rd commander of the army. It's a little inappropriate for you to fight with a junior. At this moment, seeing that the smell of gunpowder was getting thicker, Yang Qing opened his mouth to speak. He seemed to want to ease the tense atmosphere. We're both high-level Star Realm cultivators. Since it's a spar, there's no seniority to speak of. Only cowards are afraid of death. Don't you think so, Brother Fei Rin? The corners of Wang Xinqing's mouth parted as he laughed again. However, there was still a hint of sarcasm on his face. Sorry, I've never been brothers with trash. You're not worthy. Facing Wang Xinqing's aggression, Fei Rin smiled coldly. He wasn't a fool. He naturally knew what the other party's intentions were. What a sharp tongue. Seeing Fei Rin mocking him, Wang Xinqing's eyes widened in anger. His body instantly exploded with a strong wave of elemental energy. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you anytime. His gaze gradually turned cold. Fei Rin's body also exploded with a strong wave of elemental energy. Instantly, he suppressed Wang Xinqing's aura. His expression was serious. Kid, I hope you can still be so arrogant in a while. With a cold snort, Wang Xinqing also leaped toward the arena not far away. Although the battle between Chang Qingshan and Xing Wenchong had ended, there were still many silver-armored soldiers on the drill ground who had yet to leave. Swoosh! Following closely, Fei Ren also flew towards the arena. In the next moment, his body landed steadily. His aura was like a rainbow. Qingshan, I'm very sorry. Seeing that Fei Ren and Wang Xinqing were about to clash, Yang Qing's expression flickered. He then looked at Chang Qingshan. Brother Yang, you don't have to be like this. I believe that Brother Fei Ren will win. Ignoring Yang Qing's apology, Chang Qingshan crossed his arms in front of his chest. At this moment, he was staring at Fei Ren on the arena with a determined gaze. Fei Ren had been able to kill Yun Xian, who was at the 2nd level of the Star Realm, when he was only at the 9th level of the Middle Union boundary. Now that Fei Ren's strength had increased again, and he had reached the 2nd level of the Star Realm, he might be able to fight Wang Xinqing, who was at the 5th level of the Star Realm. Wang Xinqing, you've kicked an iron plate this time. Thinking of this, Chang Qingshan's mouth revealed a cold smile. Since the other party wanted to curry favor with Great Commander Lu Ming, then he had to be prepared to fail miserably. Kid, swords have no eyes. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. For Chang Qingshan's sake, as long as you're willing to kneel down and kowtow, I can let you go. On the arena, Wang Xinqing crossed his arms in front of his chest. His gaze was ferocious. Although I'm a lone cultivator, it's enough to deal with you. Facing Wang Xinqing's threat, Fei Ren was unmoved. His tone was indifferent, as if his opponent was just a small ant, not worth mentioning. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.